Ladies, gentlemen, good morning. Day 5 of the Hong Kong Legal Week 2024 will soon commence. Please be seated and mute your phones and electronic devices. Today's program will be conducted in English with simultaneous interpretation services provided in Cantonese and Putonghua. For on-site participants, should you require simultaneous interpretation service, you can collect a SI headset at the help desk located at the entrance of the hall. If you wish to have a SI headset now, you can simply raise your hand and our event team members will pass you one. You can tune to Channel 1 for English, Channel 2 for Cantonese, and Channel 3 for Putonghua. For online participants, you may choose the preferred language as shown on the screen by clicking on the channel directly. We recommend you to use earphones for best audio experience. For media who are present at the venue, please kindly proceed to the media zone outside the auditorium after the event for any media questions. Thank you. Day 5 program will commence soon. Please stay tuned. Honorable guests, distinguished speakers, ladies, gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the finale of the Hong Kong Legal Week 2024, the Rule of Law, the Best Business Environment Conference organized by the Department of Justice of the Government of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. We are thrilled to have you join us here today physically, and those who are joining us virtually, we extend a warm welcome to you all as well. My name is Vincy, and it's my pleasure to be MC for today. To kickstart today's conference, opening remarks will be delivered by the Honorable John Casey Lee, GBM, SBS, PDSM, PMSM, the Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, followed by the Honorable Chief Justice Andrew K. An Zheng, GBM, the Chief Justice of the Court of Final Appeal of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, and also the Honorable Paul T. K. Lam, SBS, SCJ, the Secretary for Justice of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. The Chief Executive is unable to join us in person today. However, he has graciously recorded a video message to share his thoughts and insights with all of us. Without further ado, let us turn our attention to the screen for the welcome remarks from the Chief Executive.
Vice Minister Wang Zhangjiang, Chief Justice Andrew Zheng, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great pleasure to speak to you today on the fifth day of this year's Hong Kong Legal Week. It has been a great week for law, for Hong Kong's legal system, for our unwavering commitments to the rule of law, and to the stability and confidence it offers businesses and investors all over the world. And let me add, this year's Legal Week has attracted a world of legal professionals in person and online from nearly 50 jurisdictions. That, ladies and gentlemen, is testament to the overwhelming support of our local legal community and the international legal fraternity. The central theme of this year's Legal Week, Hong Kong Common Law System, World-Class Springboard to China and beyond, neatly encapsulates Hong Kong's legal professional services. Our legal environment positions Hong Kong both as a gateway to mainland China and a dynamic hub for business, as well as legal and dispute resolution practice internationally. Throughout this year's Legal Week, we have heard from a wide and welcome range of speakers, government officials, eminent judges, and senior representatives of international legal organizations, alternative dispute resolution practitioners, business executives, and academics. The range of discussions and legal issues have been equally diverse, covering international legal cooperation, national development, alternative dispute resolution, the use of AI and law tech, and emerging opportunities in the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area. Our theme today, the rule of law, the best business environment, is a fitting conclusion to this year's Hong Kong Legal Week. Hong Kong's common law system remains robust and indispensable thanks to the unique one country, two systems principle. As President Xi Jinping has emphasized, one country, two systems is a good system that must be adhered to in the long run. It is essential for maintaining stability and ensuring that Hong Kong continues to thrive as a special administrative region within our country. It allows us to shape our future as the only common law jurisdiction in China, a distinction that entails significant advantages. First, our common law system has a well-established body of law freely accessible in Chinese and English. The bilingual framework ensures that local, mainland, and international businesses can navigate our rules and regulations with predictability and confidence. Second, Hong Kong's distinct connection to the mainland sets us apart. We benefit from unique legal assistance arrangements and convenience measures with the mainland, particularly in civil and commercial matters and disputes resolution. And these enhance our attractiveness as a business destination. This is precisely our role as a springboard to China and beyond, and we are proud to serve as a super connector and super value adder. Third, this singular legal framework is supported by a pool of world-class legal and dispute resolution professionals. Often bilingual or even multilingual, they understand both Chinese and Western cultures, and they are well-versed in international rules and practices. These three factors, our system, our connections, and our talent, make Hong Kong truly unique and welcoming to businesses and investors. That's clear in our high ranking, finishing 23rd globally in this year's Rule of Law Index, published just 2 weeks ago by the World Justice Project. And there's more good news. We ranked first in Asia and third globally in the latest Global Financial Centers Index report. The World Competitiveness Yearbook ranked Hong Kong fifth globally this year. That's up 2 places from last year's results. We topped the rankings in business legislation and international trade in the yearbook. These and other indicators underline Hong Kong's status as a preferred destination for global businesses. The rule of law is no less essential to our success. The bedrock of our legal framework, it ensures stability, security, and fairness, key elements that businesses look for when making decisions about where to invest and operate in. A strong rule of law enhances the protection of property rights, provides recourse for disputes, and instills confidence among investors. And it all comes together thanks to our legal sector and the talented professionals behind it. The Hong Kong SAR government is dedicated to ensuring a continuing flow of talented legal professionals for Hong Kong. That is why I'm delighted to announce that this afternoon we will launch the Hong Kong International Legal Talents Training Academy. The Academy will cultivate the skills of our legal and dispute resolution professionals. It will also collaborate with international organizations and legal bodies, strengthening exchanges in regions under the Belt and Road Initiative and underlying Hong Kong's status as a capacity-building center for legal talent throughout the region and beyond. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. The Ministry of Justice and the Department of Justice of the Hong Kong SAR government have jointly set up an exhibition for this legal week, highlighting the milestones achieved and the initiatives undertaken by our country in foreign-related legal affairs. It also spotlights the pivotal role played by Hong Kong in contributing to China's rule of law. I'm confident that Hong Kong will continue to contribute to our country's rule of law, in large part thanks to my colleagues at the Department of Justice. Your unwavering dedication to upholding the rule of law in Hong Kong is essential for its continuing success and ours. The Hong Kong SAR government puts a policy priority on the rule of law and on our legal sector in general. The International Organization for Mediation, the world's first intergovernmental legal organization dedicated to resolving international disputes through mediation, will be headquartered in Hong Kong. And in my policy address last month, I outlined measures to promote a culture of mediation in Hong Kong. That includes incorporating mediation clauses in government contracts and encouraging the private sector to do so as well, as detailed in our policy statement this week. We will also explore the establishment of a sports dispute resolution system in Hong Kong and the development of sports arbitration here. We see opportunity too in advancing our law tech capabilities and expanding cooperation with our mainland legal counterparts. These and other prospects and issues, I'm pleased to note, were among the fruitful discussions that have taken place at Legal Week events over the past few days. Our collective efforts will ensure that Hong Kong's rule of law continues to shape our future and our future success. I'm grateful to the Department of Justice for organizing this year's Legal Week. My thanks too to Legal Week's many supporting organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a rewarding final day at Hong Kong Legal Week 2024 and the best of business and law in the coming year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, the Chief Executive. As what the Chief Executive mentioned in his remarks, it has been a great week for law as we welcome experts and professionals from nearly 50 jurisdictions. Our theme today, the rule of law, the best business environment, is an important section of this year's Legal Week. We truly believe that a strong rule of law provides a foundation for sustainable business growth and innovation. Next, it is our honor to invite onto the stage the Honorable Chief Justice Andrew K. An Zheng, GBM, the Chief Justice of the Court of Final Appeal of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, onto the stage to deliver his opening remarks for us. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to welcome the Honorable Chief Justice Andrew Zheng onto the stage.
Secretary for Justice, Vice Minister Huang Zhengang, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to give these opening remarks on the occasion of Hong Kong Legal Week, now a fixture of the city's legal calendar. Amongst other things, the event has become a forum for considering contemporary challenges and emerging issues facing the legal profession in Hong Kong, a city whose adherence to the rule of law has long been central to its stability and economic success. The rule of law is not a merely formalistic concept. It is the bedrock of a developed society, and nowhere is this more evident than in its provision of a secure and predictable business environment. The theme of today's discussion, rule of law, the best business environment, is a reminder that the rule of law is indispensable to the functioning of any successful economy. It is the precondition for legal certainty, without which no economic actor can confidently plan for the future. In Hong Kong, the rule of law has been grounded in the common law tradition, which continues to play a central role under the one country, two systems framework. Article 8 of the Basic Law guarantees the continuation of the common law system, and this has been crucial in maintaining Hong Kong's distinctive legal identity. The common law's emphasis on consistency, clarity, and fairness has provided the stability upon which Hong Kong's prosperity has been built. At the heart of this system lies the rule of law, an idea that goes far beyond the mere existence of laws. As a principle, it demands that laws be clearly articulated, properly enacted, and accessible to all. But it also requires that laws be consistently and fairly enforced, with effective mechanisms for resolving disputes. This is not simply about maintaining order. It is about ensuring that every individual, regardless of their status, has access to justice. Hong Kong's commitment to the rule of law is also reflected in its protection of fundamental rights. These rights, enshrined in Chapter 3 of the Basic Law and safeguarded by the Hong Kong Bill of Rights, are based on internationally recognized standards. They provide a framework within which the law operates, ensuring that basic freedoms and liberties are protected. Although many of these rights are subject to limitations, what is important is that they are interpreted and enforced by an independent judiciary, which guards against arbitrary and disproportionate restrictions. Judicial independence is, of course, one of the central pillars of the rule of law. Without it, there can be no confidence that the law will be applied fairly or impartially. The Basic Law rightly enshrines this principle, guaranteeing the independence of the judiciary and ensuring that judges are appointed based on their judicial and professional qualities, not on any extraneous considerations. The ability of a judiciary to operate free from external interference is essential to maintaining public confidence in the legal system. If there is any compromise of this independence, the public's trust in the administration of justice, and by extension, in the rule of law itself, will inevitably be undermined. This trust, however, does not arise automatically, nor can it be taken for granted. It is fostered and maintained through transparency and accountability. In Hong Kong, judicial proceedings are open to the public. Decisions are announced openly, and the courts provide detailed written reasons for their decisions. These practices are essential to maintaining the legitimacy of the judiciary in the eyes of the public. People come to the courts with the expectation that their disputes will be resolved fairly and impartially, and the transparency of the process, along with accessible and effective appellate mechanisms, is crucial in reinforcing that expectation. Hong Kong's reputation for upholding the rule of law and for the impartial administration of justice, together with its continued adherence to the common law tradition, makes the city an attractive destination for businesses and investments. Furthermore, Hong Kong's ability to attract and retain international legal talent, as well as its capacity to provide world-class legal services, not only enhances its standing as a center for international dispute resolution, but also reinforces the rule of law itself. For the rule of law also depends on the quality and independence of the legal profession. Lawyers play a pivotal role in upholding the rule of law by providing independent and high-quality legal advice. They are essential not only in litigation, but also in alternative dispute resolution. Whether advising clients on their rights, representing them in court, or making submissions to judges, lawyers ensure that legal rights are effectively protected. In an adversarial system, the role of the lawyer is indispensable to the proper functioning of the courts. And this role is no less vital in arbitration or other alternative forms of dispute resolution, where the rule of law must still be upheld. In this regard, it is essential that Hong Kong continues to nurture its own legal talent. Whilst, as mentioned, the city has undoubtedly succeeded in attracting international legal professionals, it cannot afford to neglect the development of local expertise, which must be cultivated to meet the highest international standards. Hong Kong's legal education system is already well established, producing graduates of exceptional caliber who supply both branches of the legal profession. However, the work does not end there. Investing in junior lawyers, whether through continued professional training, financial support, or opportunities for exchange and broader exposure, represents not only a prudent allocation of resources, but a vital investment in the future of the rule of law itself. The strength and independence of the legal profession, upon which the rule of law depends, will ultimately rest on the quality of the next generation of lawyers. In conclusion, the rule of law is not merely a theoretical construct. It is the foundation upon which Hong Kong's legal, social, and economic systems are built. It ensures that the law is applied fairly and consistently, that rights are protected, and that disputes are resolved impartially. It is the guarantee of legal certainty and the cornerstone of a stable business environment. As we look forward to the discussions of today, it is worth remembering that the rule of law, judicial independence, and the strength of the legal profession are not just abstract principles. They are the very conditions upon which Hong Kong's continued success depends. I would like to end by expressing my gratitude to the Secretary of Justice and the Department of Justice for their meticulous organization of this event. Their dedications to promoting the rule of law and fostering international legal cooperation is commendable. I look forward to the discussion ahead, which will undoubtedly deepen our understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing Hong Kong's legal system in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause to thank the Honorable Chief Justice Andrew Cheung. Please be seated. The rule of law is indispensable for a successful economy, and it allows businesses to flourish and confidently plan for the future. Now, may we invite the Honorable Paul T.K. Lam, SBS SCJP, the Secretary for Justice of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, onto the stage for the opening remarks. Secretary for Justice, please.
The Honorable Chief Justice Andrew Cheung, Vice Minister Huang Jinjiang, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of the Department of Justice of the Hong Kong SAR, I'm delighted to welcome you to the fifth and final day of the Hong Kong Legal Week 2024. Our theme this year is Hong Kong's common law system, world-class springboard to China and beyond. It highlights two fundamental points. First, Hong Kong's legal system is a common law system. It's the only common law system practiced in China, and it's the only bilingual common law system using both Chinese and English in the world. Second, it serves and shall serve the vital function of helping people to explore and seize business and other opportunities, not just in Hong Kong, but also China as a whole and even other parts of the world, by the provision of top quality legal services. The correlation between the rule of law and economic development is beyond doubt. Hong Kong serves as the best example. In the Economic Freedom of the World 2024 Annual Report, Hong Kong reclaims the first position among 165 jurisdictions. The ranking depends on 5 main areas. One is legal system and property rights, which involve various indicators of how effectively the legal system protects people and their property, measure of judicial independence, impartiality of the courts, protection of property rights, the integrity of the legal system, enforcement of contracts, protection of real property, and police and crime. 2 other main areas are first, freedom to trade internationally, which concern mainly the presence or absence of trade barriers, and second, regulations, which include regulations of credit market, labor market, business, as well as competition. In the World Competitiveness Yearbook 2024, Hong Kong ranks the 5th. This is partly attributable to the fact that Hong Kong ranked first in the subtopic of business legislation. Perhaps the most succinct and accurate statement describing the relationship between the rule of law and economic development is a famous statement made by President Xi Jinping, which is now often displayed in legal and other institutions in the mainland. He said in Chinese, 法治是最好的營商環境. 法治是最好的營商環境. So in English, the English translation is indeed the theme of today's program, Rule of Law, the Best Business Environment. It's significant to note that in the resolution of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China on further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization, adopted on the 18th of July 2024, one of the guiding principles is to deepen reform and advance Chinese modernization under the rule of law. Against this background, we are most honored Mr. Wang Jinjiang, Vice Minister of the Ministry of Justice of PRC, has come all the way from Beijing and will deliver a keynote speech on development in our nation's rule of law and the role of Hong Kong's legal service industry. We have also set up an exhibition joining with the Ministry of Justice of PRC in the opposite rooms, showcasing the milestones and key features relating to the development of the rule of law of our country and Hong Kong's contributions to it. I would strongly encourage you to take a look. It should be borne in mind that Hong Kong's common law system is not merely serving the interests of Hong Kong people. It must be utilized to assist in achieving the overarching objective of the one country, two system principle, which is to safeguard national sovereignty, security, and development interests. The word that we hear most frequently in Hong Kong recently is reform. The title of the Chief Executive 2024 Policy Address is Reform for Enhancing Development and Building Our Future Together. While we must, of course, do our best to consider and make changes in order to rise up to new challenges and meet new demands due to the evolving objective circumstances, we shall not forget the fundamental principle of 守正創新. In English, upholding fundamental principles and breaking new ground. To enable our common law system to serve the purpose that I have just mentioned properly and effectively, the precondition is that we must first maintain and reinforce the core features which render our common law system so unique and advantageous, many of which are indeed guaranteed by the basic law. For example, a bilingual legal system, a judiciary exercising independent judicial power without interference, zero tolerance to corruption, protection of property rights, including intangible property, for example, intellectual property rights. In line with the spirit of 守正創新, I'm very pleased that the Honorable Mr. Justice David Locke, who is now in charge of the intellectual property list in the Court of First Instance, will speak at the beginning of the first panel session on what Hong Kong has achieved in terms of intellectual property protection and how to cope with challenges brought about by the advancement of technology in future. The significance of and contribution by our legal system to Hong Kong's success must be considered in a wider context and from different perspectives. In the 2 panel discussion this morning, You will also hear from not just eminent members of the two legal professions in Hong Kong, but also leading figures from both the public and private sector, such as the Trade Development Council, Hong Kong Custom and Excise Department, ICAC, Invest Hong Kong, and private companies on the comprehensive regime in Hong Kong, which provide a stable environment for business to grow, and also some good stories of Hong Kong enterprises. In the afternoon, we shall start by the launching ceremony of the Hong Kong International Legal Talents Training Academy. I will then say more on the significance of the academy. Now, after that, the panel discussion will focus on the Belt and Road Initiative. 2024 marks the beginning of the second decade of the Belt and Road Initiative, first announced in 2013. The ultimate goal of the BRI is to help build a global community of shared future. At the 9th Belt and Road Summit, held in early September in Hong Kong, the Vice Secretary General of the National Development and Reform Commission stated that Hong Kong shall strengthen its status as an international legal and dispute resolution service center in the Asia-Pacific region in order to assist in perfecting the foreign-related legal services required for the joint construction of the Belt and Road. In this last section today, experts from Hong Kong, the mainland, and overseas will consider how Hong Kong's legal talents may discharge such an important duty and trusted by the central authorities to Hong Kong. In this respect, among other things, it's clearly necessary to enhance the collaborations between the legal professionals in Hong Kong and their counterparts in the mainland. I'm therefore very excited that after the last panel discussion, I will witness the signing of a cooperation agreement between the Law Society of Hong Kong and Xinjiang Lawyer Association. And after that, there will be a brief review of this year's Legal Week to be followed by my closing remarks. Before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all my colleagues of the Department of Justice for dedication and hard work. I'm extremely fortunate to have the support and assistance of my dear colleagues who are both highly competent and passionate with a strong sense of solidarity. I would also like to express my deepest gratitude to our partners, moderators, speakers, exhibition helper, co-organizer, and supporting organizations for making Hong Kong Legal Week 2024 possible. Finally, and most importantly, I must, of course, thank all participants, no matter whether attending physically, including some who have traveled very far to come here, or watching us online. I wish you all a very insightful, fruitful, and enjoyable day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary for Justice. Please kindly remain at the stage front for our photo together. For this group photo, we would also like to welcome onto the stage the Honorable Chief Justice Andrew Zheng and also Vice Minister Wang Zhenjiang onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to welcome our distinguished guests. As what Secretary for Justice just now mentioned, today is the finale of the Hong Kong Legal Week 2024. And the theme this year is Hong Kong Common Law System, World-Class Springboard to China and Beyond. Please look at official photographer once again right in front of you for a group photo. Please also look at the media friends at the back of this hall. Thank you. A round of applause once again to thank Secretary for Justice, the Honorable Chief Justice Andrew Zheng, and also Vice Minister Wang Zhenjiang. Thank you so much. Please be seated. The theme this year highlights two important fundamental points and is mentioned in Secretary for Justice's remarks. Hong Kong's legal system is a common law system, and it also serves the vital function of helping people to explore and seize business and other opportunities, not just in Hong Kong, but also China as a whole and even other parts of the world with our top quality legal services. And now, before we welcome our keynote speaker, ladies and gentlemen, let's watch a special feature video prepared by the Ministry of Justice of the People's Republic of China. Let's take a look.
rule of law is a significant hallmark of human civilization. Since the 18th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, has positioned, deployed, and implemented the rule of law from a holistic and a strategic perspective. This has culminated in the formation of Xi Jinping thought on the rule of law, ushering in historic reforms and achievements in the building of rule of law in China in the new era. The Ministry of Justice of the People's Republic of China, the MOJ, takes charge of coordinating efforts to implement the rule of law on a comprehensive scale, encompassing tasks such as administrative legislation, law-based administration, penalty enforcement, legal services, and foreign-related rule of law matters. Leveraging its mandates, the MOJ is driving forward the building of a nation, government, and society with the rule of law, thus serving and supporting the Chinese modernization. The 20th CPC National Congress emphasized the building of a modern socialist country in all respects on the track of the rule of law, outlining a blueprint for the building of the rule of law in China in the foreseeable future. The Rule of Law Commission of the CPC Central Committee coordinates efforts aimed at attaining overall rule of law, with its office set within the MOJ. Currently, China has established and kept improving the socialist legal system with Chinese characteristics with the Constitution at core. To address the challenges posed by the new round of technological revolution and industrial transformation, China is working on legislation in key and emerging fields such as AI, digital economy, and IPR, seeking to ensure sound governance with effective legislation. Centering on ensuring and promoting social fairness and justice, China continues to deepen reforms in the legal fields, promote the effective implementation of the strategic decisions and deployments on comprehensive rule of law made by the CPC Central Committee, and firmly follow the path of socialist rule of law with Chinese characteristics. Additionally, China has been improving its law school systems, education systems, and theoretical research systems to meet the needs of training high-quality legal professionals. The building of law-based governments is a pivotal endeavor and the mainstay of China's efforts to roll out comprehensive law-based governance. The MOJ enacts and amends pertinent laws and regulations to further develop the system of law-based administration. We organize campaigns to establish model law-based government demonstrations, leveraging the exemplary role of demonstration regions and projects. We stepped up the development of an administrative law enforcement, coordination, and supervision system covering all the provincial, municipal, county, and township levels, tightening the supervision of administrative law enforcement to promote rigorous, standardized, impartial, and civilized law enforcement practices. Administrative reconsideration serves as a vital mechanism for self-correction and regulation of the administrative actions within the administrative system. Over 70% of the cases which apply for administrative reconsideration are resolved and closed within the procedure, making it the primary channel for dispute resolution. A law-based society serves as a cornerstone for building China into a nation with the rule of law. The MOJ actively develops public legal services and ensures effective penalty enforcement to fulfill the people's heightened expectations for democracy, rule of law, fairness, justice, and security, enhancing the well-being of the general public. In terms of public legal services, a highly accessible, efficient, impartial, and inclusive modern public legal service system has been established across urban and rural areas in the country, placing due emphasis on judicial protection of human rights, China consistently reinforces efforts in legal aid to guarantee legal representation and assistance for virtually all criminal defendants. Drawing on the traditional Chinese cultural value of peace is the most precious, we have developed a unique mediation system. Through methods such as the people's mediation and commercial mediation, we effectively resolve a vast array of social conflicts, thereby minimizing the necessity for litigation. To select and train high-quality legal professionals, China has established a rigorous system for the professional admission of legal practitioners. The MOJ is responsible for organizing the legal professional qualification examinations. In 2023, approximately 860,000 participants took the exam. For the convenience of the public, since last year, the MOJ has standardized the list of notarization materials for 81 items in 33 categories, reducing 116 items of unnecessary supporting materials. Besides, the MOJ has selected 295 public notary offices to jointly carry out overseas remote video notarization with embassies and consulates stationed abroad. Currently, the MOJ oversees a workforce comprising nearly 4 million professional legal service providers. In terms of penalty enforcement, the MOJ adheres to a systematic approach, integrating in-prison punishment and corrections, open-door community corrections, and post-release rehabilitation and assistance, effectively preventing and reducing recidivism. In terms of drug rehabilitation, the MOJ combines measures such as voluntary detoxification, community detoxification, mandatory isolated detoxification, and community rehabilitation, contributing China's wisdom and solutions to tackling this global challenge of drug addiction. In terms of nationwide legal publicity, since 1985, China has implemented a 5-year plan system to enhance legal awareness among citizens, fostering a national culture of lawfulness throughout the Chinese society. President Xi Jinping has proposed the concept of building a community with a shared future for mankind. Along with the Global Development Initiative, the Global Security Initiative, and the Global Civilization Initiative, China is steadily advancing high-level opening up and has become the primary trading partner of over 140 countries and regions. Committed to creating a top-notch market-oriented, law-based, and internationalized business environment, the MOJ is currently conducting a review and revision of legislation concerning foreign trade, maritime affairs, and arbitration to better align with international standards. The MOJ is also accelerating the development of world-class law firms, arbitration institutions, and commercial mediation agencies, aiming to provide high-quality legal services to both domestic and foreign market entities. On September 5, 2023, President Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory letter to the 10th meeting of Ministers of Justice of the SCO member states hosted by the MOJ. The participating parties signed a joint statement, and the MOJ signed cooperation agreements with its Russian and Kyrgyz counterparts, vigorously promoting legal exchanges and cooperation among member states. Moving forward, the MOJ will continue to strengthen pragmatic cooperation with other countries in legislation, law enforcement, judicial matters, legal services, mutual legal assistance, transfer of sentenced persons, combating transnational crimes, international fugitive repatriation, asset recovery, and cross-border corruption governance.
A round of applause for this special feature video. Coming next will be a keynote speech by Mr. Wang Zhenjiang, Vice Minister of Ministry of Justice of the People's Republic of China. It is our honor to have invited Vice Minister Wang to share with us the development in our nation's rule of law and also the role of Hong Kong's legal services profession. Ladies and gentlemen, please put our hands to welcome Vice Minister Wang onto the stage.
尊敬的张俊能首席法官、林定国司长、各位来宾、各位朋友、女士们、先生们，大家上午好。在这个满载收获的季节，香港法律周又一次如期而至。我非常高兴受邀参加这次活动。受贺荣部长委托，我谨代表司法部 对本届法律周的成功举办表示热烈的祝贺。本届香港法律周针对当前国际关心的法治发展、争议解决、投资保护、营商环境等热点问题进行广泛交流、深入研讨。这对于凝聚法律界共识、加强法治领域交流合作， 以法治之力保障香港繁荣稳定，具有十分重要的意义。下面围绕国家法治建设发展成就和香港法律服务业角色，我重点向大家介绍3个方面的情况，与大家交流。第一，在习近平法治思想引领下，国家法治建设取得显著成就。今年是新中国成立75周年。 从1954年颁布的新中国第一部宪法，到2020年颁布新中国第一部民法典，中国共产党领导人民追求法治、探索法治、建设法治、推进法治的脚步坚定而有力。党的18大以来，以习近平同志为核心的党中央， 从坚持和发展中国特色社会主义的全局和战略高度，定位法治、布局法治、例行法治，将全面依法治国纳入4个全面战略布局，予以有力推进，推动中国特色社会主义法治体系建设取得历史性成就，为书写经济快速发展和社会长期稳定2大奇迹新篇章提供了有力的保障。 一是形成了习近平法治思想。习近平法治思想把马克思主义法治理论同中国法治建设具体实际相结合，同中华优秀传统法律文化相结合，具有鲜明的理论创新特质、时代特征和民族特色，为在强国建设、民族复兴新征程上推进全面依法治国提供了科学行动指南。 为推动构建新型国际法治秩序、推进人类法治文明进步，贡献了中国的智慧。二是中国特色社会主义法律体系日趋完备，通过宪法修正案、颁布民法典、制定香港特别行政区维护国家安全法和维护国家安全条例等一系列法律法规制修订工作，国家和社会生活各方面 总体实现有法可依。截至目前，我国现行有效的法律303部，行政法规599件，地方性法规1.4万件，党内法规体系也越来越完备。三是法治服务保障大局的作用充分彰显，依法打击各类违法犯罪活动。 据有关统计显示，2023年全国群众安全感为98.2%，我国是公认的最安全的国家之一。坚持和发展新时代凤桥经验，立足预防、立足调解、立足法治、立足基层，防范化解重大风险的作用充分发挥，深入推进法治化营商环境建设， 依法平等保护各类经营主题，持续激发市场活力。4是社会公平正义保障更为坚实，司法责任制改革全面推开，以审判为中心的刑事诉讼制度改革深入推进，制定实施防止干预司法3个规定，执法司法质量、效率和公信力持续提升，人权法治保障不断加强，人民群众法治获得感、幸福感、安全感显著提升。5是全面依法治国总体格局基本形成，制定实施全面依法治国一规划2纲要、全面深化法治领域改革纲要等重要文件，确立社会主义法治国家建设总蓝图、路线图、施工图。法治政府建设率先突破，行政执法体制改革深入推进，严格规范公正文明执法水平普遍提高，启动实施85普法规划，人民群众法治意识不断增强，全面加强法治工作队伍建设，法官、检察官专业化程度不断提升，律师人数10多年来由原来的30万人增至77万人，办成世界最大的法学教育体系，每年培养输送10万多名法治专门人才。在推进国家法治建设中，司法部坚持以习近平新时代中国特色社会主义思想为指导，深入践行习近平法治思想，聚焦法治建设服务保障党和国家工作大局的目标和任务，立足一个统抓5大职能，切实履行自身职责，在法治轨道上全力推进中国式现代化。在行政立法方面，持续加强重点领域、新型领域法律法规供给，围绕推动高质量发展、构建全面创新体制机制、增进民生福祉和推动绿色发展，先后制定反不正当竞争法的修订、科学技术普及法、突发公共卫生事件应对法、国家公园法、生态补偿条例等法律法规，积极推进律师法、仲裁法、法治宣传教育法等制修订工作。在依法行政方面，开展提升行政执法质量3年行动，强化行政执法体制改革的法治协调，加强行政执法指导监督，抓好新修订的行政复议法的贯彻实施，组织开展法治督查，推动地方依法行政。在刑法执行方面，严格依法适用减刑、假释、暂于监外执行等，规范开展社区矫正，更加有效预防和减少重新违法犯罪。在公共法律服务方面，持续提升律师服务能力，推进公正、简政、便民提诉，全面加强调解工作，深化普法工作，切实加强新时代司法所建设，基本建成覆盖城乡、便捷高效、均等普惠的公共法律服务体系。在涉外法治方面，加快构建体系完备的涉外法律体系、法律法规体系，推动制定外商投资法、对外关系法等涉外法律，加快修订海商法、仲裁法，推进国际商事仲裁中心建设试点，强化对外交流合作，加强涉外法治人才培养，提升涉外法律服务能力。第二，进一步深化法治领域改革，不断完善中国特色社会主义法治体系。今年7月，党的20届3中全会胜利召开，全会站在党和国家事业发展全局的战略高度，着眼以中国式现代化推进强国建设、民族复兴伟业，提出建设更高水平的社会主义法治国家，对完善中国特色社会主义法治体系 作出新的重大决策部署。全会通过的决定明确了完善中国特色社会主义法治体系的重点任务，主要包括以下5个方面：一是坚持立法先行，深化立法领域改革。良法是善治的前提，决定明确要健全保证宪法全面实施制度体系，完善合宪性审查、备案审查制度，维护国家法治统一、尊严、权威，完善立法工作格局，不断提高立法质量。紧紧围绕重点领域、新兴领域、涉外领域，完善以宪法为核心的中国特色社会主义法律体系，建设全国统一的法律法规和规范性文件信息平台，推动法律统一正确实施。二是聚焦高效实施，深入推进依法行政。法治政府建设是全面依法治国的重点任务和主题工程，决定明确要推进政府机构职能、权限、程序、责任的法定化，完善重大决策、规范性文件合法性审查机制，加强政府立法审查，深化行政执法体制改革，健全行政执法监督体制机制，做到严格、规范、公正、文明执法。三是强化制约监督，健全公正执法司法体制机制。加强制约监督是实现公正的重要保障，决定明确要健全监察机关、公安机关、检察机关、审判机关、司法行政机关各司其职，监察权、侦查权、检察权、审判权、执行权相互配合、相互制约的体制机制，确保执法司法各环节全过程在有效制约监督下运行。完善执法司法救济保护制度，完善国家赔偿制度，深化和规范司法公开，落实和完善司法责任制，加强人权执法司法保障。四是突出标本兼治，完善推进法治社会建设机制。法治社会是构筑法治国家的基础，决定明确要健全覆盖城乡的公共法律服务体系，深化律师制度、公证体制、仲裁制度、调解制度、司法鉴定管理体制改革，改进法治宣传教育，让法治走到人民群众身边，完善以实践为导向的法学院校教育培养机制，健全法学院校与法治实务部门协同育人机制，提高法治人才培养的质量。五是注重一体推进，加强涉外法治建设。法治是国家核心竞争力的重要内容，决定明确要统筹推进国内法治和涉外法治，建立一体推进涉外立法、执法、司法、守法和法律服务、法治人才培养的工作机制，完善涉外法律法规体系和法治实施体系，深化执法司法国际合作，更好维护国家主权、安全、发展利益。完善涉外民事法律关系中当事人依法约定管辖、选择适用域外法等司法审判制度，健全国际商事仲裁和调解制度，打造国际商事争端解决优选地。第三，充分发挥香港独特优势，努力推动香港法律服务业取得新进展。香港背靠祖国，连通世界，作为国际金融、航运、贸易中心，以及中国唯一的普通法司法管辖区，具有成为亚太地区法律和争议解决服务中心的独特优势。正如这次法律服务周的主题“香港 普通法制度中外机遇之世界级跳板所提倡的，香港法律服务业要善用普通法内外联通的功能，持续巩固法治营商环境，打造国际法律服务枢纽品牌，扩大与世界各地法治合作的朋友圈。近年来，司法部深入贯彻落实党中央、国务院关于促进粤港澳大湾区建设、推动香港与内地融合发展的决策部署，结合自身职责，进行积极探索，深入推进粤港澳大湾区法治建设。尤其是自去年以来近年来，那么司法部把这项工作作为这个重中之重一直在不断的加大工作的推进力度。在法律政策方面，积极推进内地与港澳基本实现服务贸易自由化，为 CEPA 服务的贸易协议落地落实做好法治保障，落实相关法律和政策措施，鼓励和促进香港投资者在内地投资，对符合条件的香港机动车实行免担保政策等，实行港车北上，协助大湾区内地城市做好涉港立法工作，助力大湾区法律规则衔接和机制的对接。在法律服务方面，建立粤港澳大湾区法律服务会商机制，推进粤港澳大湾区律师职业试点，指导完善内地与香港律所合伙联营，选聘香港律师担任内地机构法律顾问、仲裁员、调解员等政策措施，不断完善中国委托公证人制度，推进大湾区国际商事仲裁中心建设，推动大湾区内地9市试行港子港发港仲裁落地落实，支持香港知名仲裁机构在北京、上海、深圳等境内特定城市设立业务机构，开展涉外仲裁活动。在交流合作方面，司法部与香港司法法律界始终保持良好的沟通。贺荣部长与李家超特首和香港司法法律界的朋友们多次见面，就进一步深化交流合作，为粤港澳大湾区建设提供高质量法治保障等议题达成了多项的共识。党的20届三中全会决定强调，要发挥一国两制制度优势，健全香港、澳美在国家对外开放中更好发挥作用机制，深化粤港澳大湾区合作，强化规则衔接、机制对接。司法部将深入贯彻落实三中全会的决策部署，一如既往地支持香港发挥独特优势，推动香港法律服务业加快发展，更好地融入国家发展大局。一是积极推进粤港澳大湾区法治建设，我们将积极支持粤港澳大湾区法治建设行动纲领在大湾区内地城市的落地落实，进一步推进粤港澳诉讼、仲裁与调解制度的有机衔接，将粤港澳大湾区打造成一站式跨境争议解决的高地，加快商事调解立法，研究制定充分发挥仲裁职能作用，服务粤港澳大湾区高质量发展的相关意见。二是持续提升法律服务对港澳开放政策水平，研究完善粤港澳大湾区律师职业试点的配套措施和机制，为港澳律师在内地执业提供更多的机遇和平台，建立粤港澳大湾区律师在港联络服务平台，为大湾区律师提供联络、交流等有效服务，大力支持粤港澳大湾区调解工作委员会发挥作用，支持和推动委员会认可的香港调解组织和粤港澳大湾区调解员名册中符合条件的香港调解员参与调解工作， 支持国际调解院的建设。3是支持巩固香港亚太区国际法律及争议解决服务中心地位。我们注意到，李家超特首在2024年施政报告中明确提出，要建设区域国际法律及争议解决服务中心，这对于提升香港法律服务地位和影响力具有十分重要的作用。我们将支持律政司宣传推广香港仲裁服务，推动内地与香港法治领域全面交流合作，积极支持香港国际法律人才培训学院后续运行的相关工作，拟依托学院开展内地涉外法治人才培训项目，继续落实好司法部与香港律政司关于法治人才交流培训合作框架安排和有关会谈的纪要精神，加快合作培养法治人才。法治是中国之治的金钥匙，是一国两制的稳定器，也是香港繁荣发展的重要保障。香港法律周是展示香港法治建设成果的重要平台，是香港法律界的年度盛事。司法部将继续支持香港律政司举办更多的类似活动，持续拓展交流合作的广度和深度，力争形成更多务实的成果，携手推动一国两制事业行稳致远，为以中国式现代化全面推进强国建设、民族复兴贡献法治的力量。谢谢大家。
Thank you. A round of applause to thank Vice Minister Wang for such an enlightening keynote speech. Thank you so much. Please be seated. After this keynote speech, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a 10-minute short break. The next session will start at around 10:48 in the morning. Please take your valuables with you whenever you leave this hall. Please enjoy the refreshments at the designated area outside the hall and return here before 10:48. For online participants, do not log out. See you after the short break. Thank you. Ladies, gentlemen, our part 2 of the morning section will commence, so please kindly make your way back into the hall and be seated. Thank you. 咁多位來賓，我哋咧早上環節嘅第2部分咧立即開始啦，請大家返回我哋會場入面就座，多謝合作。女士們、先生們，大家早上好。我們接下來的環節立馬開始，請大家移步回到我們會場裡面就座，謝謝合作。Ladies, gentlemen, once again, we would like to strongly recommend you to make your way back into the auditorium and please be seated as we're going to commence the program. Thank you. Distinguished speakers, welcome back. I hope you've all had a great time networking. In this upcoming session, we will have a panel discussion on a comprehensive regime provides a stable environment for businesses to grow and also a fireside chat on good stories of Hong Kong enterprises. Hong Kong's robust legal and judicial system, stringent anti-corruption and IP protection framework is essential to sustaining its business-friendly environment. In the upcoming panel discussion, speakers from these sectors will converge to explore how these critical components position Hong Kong as a premier destination for businesses aiming for growth, innovation, and success in the competitive global arena. To set the scene for the panel discussion, it is our honor to now invite the Honorable Mr. Justice David Locke, Judge of the Court of First Instance of the High Court of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, onto the stage for an introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Mr. Justice Locke, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's certainly a great honor and privilege for me to speak into Legal Week on this important topic as to how the law and the court can facilitate the provision of a stable environment for business to grow in Hong Kong. As I'm the judge in charge of the intellectual property list, what we call the IP list, in the Court of First Instance of the High Court, I will speak on the protection of IP rights. I actually welcome the opportunity to speak today because people keep asking me, what do you do when there's no election? And I have to keep reminding them I'm still a working judge. And I have to hear nearly all of the IP disputes in the High Court. So this occasion will give me the opportunity to say this in public. On the topic of IP protection, I think I can speak for hours. And I wonder what I can say in only 15 minutes. Anyway, in the limited time available, I will try to summarize what we have achieved today. And in the end of the speech, I will venture to give you a few thoughts as to what we, the legal profession, should do to cope with the advancement, the challenges brought about by the advancement of technology in the future. Hong Kong always takes pride in the law and the legal system for the protection of IP rights. In the recent promotion campaign by the Hong Kong SAR government to attract talents from other places, one of the attractions put forward for mainland and overseas entrepreneurs is that Hong Kong has a good and solid legal system for the protection of IP rights. However, this should not be just a slogan. It must be backed up by substantive measures. Indeed, there has been great development and indeed excitement in the field of IP protection in recent years. In 2019, for the first time, Hong Kong can issue its own patent by adopting its own patent examination system. Unlike previously, Hong Kong does not have its own patent, and the only way to obtain patent protection here is to re-register a patent obtained in certain designated places, like the mainland, the UK, and the EU. Now, Hong Kong can issue its own patent, while the previous re-registration system continues to operate side by side, offering much wider options for the patent holders to protect their inventions. In the copyright regime, the Copyright Ordinance had been amended in 2022 to bring the law in line with the other major jurisdictions. One of the important amendments is that with the development of technology, there's now a right for copyright owners to communicate their works through electronic transmission. For trademarks, Hong Kong is also making great progress in joining the Madrid system for international registration of trademarks, making it more convenient for trademark owners to obtain protection of their marks in multiple jurisdictions. Now, apart from the comprehensive legislation, how IP disputes are resolved and adjudicated is also another key factor. Now, in an ideal world, of course, every legal dispute should be resolved speedily without delay. This is particularly true for IP disputes. After all, IP rights are commercial assets that the right owner can exploit commercially. Every IP right, such as a patent or trademark, has a certain commercial value. Now, how to exploit an IP right is obviously a commercial decision. However, in the case of infringement, whether the right owner spend time and money to enforce the IP right is also another commercial decision. Now, delay in enforcing the right would play an important part in the commercial decision as to whether to enforce a right. Nowadays, with the widespread use of social media and the flood of information in the internet world, a lot of IP rights may have a short commercial life. Now, imagine products such as bubble tea, for which a brand may only have a commercial life in terms of months. If there are infringing activities and the brand owner has to wait for years to enforce a right, then commercially, it may not be wise to take any legal action to protect the rights. Perhaps it may be better for the brand owner, in a commercial sense, to develop another brand instead. Now, the same applies to a patent holder. A patent has a limited protection time, 20 years in the case of a standard patent. And so the patent holder cannot wait for years for the court to determine whether the patent is valid or not. Now, unlike some other cases, which delay may not be a significant factor, the same is not true for IP cases. That is why one of the judges in the common law jurisdiction says succinctly that delay in litigation simply devalues IP rights. I would perhaps add that delay may sometimes kill or even destroy the IP rights. After the introductions of the IP list in the High Court in 2019, IP cases are now handled by specialized judges within the regime of the IP list. there will be a direction hearing shortly after the commencement of proceedings, and the court will make a preliminary assessment as to whether the case warrants a speedy trial. If the court thinks that it should be the case, trial date may be fixed, even in the first direction hearing. Depending on the complexity of the case, trial date may be fixed as soon as 3 to 4 months. The experience in the IP list is that there were quite a number of cases commenced by an application for interlocutory injunctions. However, instead of wasting time to argue on the question as to whether interlocutory injunction should be granted, the court simply fixed the trial in 3 to 6 months' time. Most parties were quite happy with that. With a speedy trial, the parties were quite prepared to give undertaking not to continue the alleged wrongful acts in the short interim period. For some of the cases, they were simply settled quickly, as the defendant knew that the delaying tactics did not work in the IP list. Now, perhaps to give you 2 examples showing the speed of the IP list in the High Court. Now, XCIP 78 of 2019 will commence in the end of December that year with an application for interlocutory injunction. Now, instead of wasting time to argue whether it is appropriate to grant such kind of relief, even pleadings had not been filed by parties, a 5-day trial date was fixed in 3 to 4 months' time in April the following year. Now, one must not forget that there was then COVID, and the proceedings were conducted when there was a partial close down of the court. The trial was delayed for a week as a result, but yet the trial was completed, and the parties got the judgment in May, early May. Now, in other words, a case with a 5-day trial was concluded in about 4.5 months' time. Another patent dispute, XCA 1466 of the year 2012, which was a case handled by the court even before the establishment of the IP list. Despite that the court had to deal with the numerous prior art submitted by the parties to challenge the validity of the patent, and the court has to deal with the differences in the expert evidence involved, the trial was concluded about 1 year after the commencement of the claim. Now, no matter how you look at it, for common law systems, these can be considered as very speedy adjudication of the claims. Now, obviously, everything depends on the availability of the scarce judicial resources. But with the cases now handled by specialized judges, they are fully aware that speedy resolution is the key to the success of Hong Kong as a place for the resolution of IP disputes and the effective protection of IP rights. I believe that this is important to maintain Hong Kong as an important IP hub in the region. Another additional benefit of the IP list is that we can build up the expertise of the court in dealing with these sort of cases. Last month, I just attended the Forum for IP Judges organized by the World Intellectual Property Organization, which is an important annual event for judges all over the world to share the experiences in dealing with new kind of cases that are brought about by the advancement of technology. Now, that perhaps conveniently leads to the second in-topping topic on which I only have a few minutes to speak. Now, in the limited remaining time, I want to throw out a number of questions brought about by the development of technology. I may not be able to give you the answers, but what I want to do is to plant the seeds for future discussion. These are challenges that the legal profession should be fully aware of, and perhaps the Hong Kong legal profession can play a larger role in tackling these issues with our partners in the region. One of the hot topics in the IP field is, of course, artificial intelligence, AI. While the main focus these days is always what the AI can do for us, there are a lot of other issues, perhaps less glamorous in the public arena, that may be brought about by the development of AI. Now, I can perhaps identify 5 areas may deserve serious consideration. Now, the first area is, of course, how to govern AI to make it more accountable and transparent. Now, this is, of course, a challenge facing many governments in the world. This is certainly beyond the scope of the speech today, and I think such kind of topic may deserve a whole week of seminar on this issue. Now, the second area is prejudice and bias. Will there be any prejudice and bias in the so-called decision process made by the AI? Perhaps not so common in my generation, but imagine your son or your daughter applying for a job in a multinational finance institution. The first round of the job interview is conducted by an AI robot. Now, the AI disqualify your son or your daughter in the first round of the interview, despite a very impressive CV. Then is it possible that the decision is made on the basis of the race or the sex of your son or daughter? Now, that matter deserves serious consideration. The third area is, of course, privacy. Now, a lot of materials and data are being used to train the AI, a process known as data mining. The process may involve the use of some confidential or private materials. Now, imagine an AI program helping your legal work to write an advice to a client. Now, with some kind of privileged materials used to train such kind of AI program. Now, another example is that a lot of medical records are being used to train AI, which helped to diagnose certain diseases. How do we protect the confidentiality and privacy of these personal and privileged documents? This is, of course, a great challenge. The problem is further complicated by the fact that AI program now has the ability to gather data by itself. The fourth area I can identify is product liability issues. Now, imagine there's an AI program, using the example just now, an AI program helping the doctor to diagnose certain illnesses, such as cancer. If the AI is wrong, who should be held legally responsible? Another hot topic these days is driving with an AI program without a human driver. If someone is injured, who should be held legally responsible? Lastly, and perhaps most relevant to the topic today, is the IP issues relating to the use of AI. There are simply numerous issues. To name a few, who owns the copyright, if any, of a song composed by an AI? Can an AI be an inventor for the purpose of patent application? A song or invention produced by AI program capable of being protected under copyright law or patent law? Should there be copyright exemption for the use of the copyright materials used to train the AI? The legislation simply cannot cope with the development of AI. Instead of answering these questions by specific legislation, these questions have to be answered by the courts in different jurisdictions. The judges are struggling to provide answers to these questions using outdated legislation or case law, which were made in the days when such kind of new technology cannot even be dreamed of. In my view, judges may not be the best person to answer these questions. They may not be able to understand the concern of every stakeholders, such as the copyright owners of the materials used to train the AI developer, or the AI users. And different judges may have different views on these issues, resulting in uncertainty and confusion in the law on these novel and yet important issues. The way forward must be to promote multidisciplinary dialogue and collaborations, and there should be a deep study of the various policy and legal considerations underpinning the development of AI laws. Hong Kong should therefore promote such kind of multidisciplinary dialogue so that Hong Kong can become a leading IP hub on the study of IP law in the region. Apart from the multidisciplinary perspective, there's also a multi-jurisdiction perspective. Now, for example, the Intellectual Property Department has issued a consultation paper on the amendment of the Copyright Ordinance. One of the issues is whether there should be copyright exemption for the copyright materials used to train the AI. Now, this may appear to be a local issue. However, the width of the exemption would affect the whole AI ecosystem. Singapore has a very wide copyright exemption, which we call the data exemption, a data mining exception. Now, if we adopt a narrower exemption, Hong Kong may become less attractive to AI developer. The same applies to the mainland. If there's a difference in the width of the exemptions in the two jurisdictions, it may encourage AI R&D to move to places with wider exceptions. The best way forward, as suggested by many international organizations, academics, and judges, is that there should be some kind of harmonization of the law in different jurisdictions. Now, if that is not possible because of geopolitical conflicts, there's nothing to stop some kind of regional harmonization. For example, the harmonization of the law between the mainland and Hong Kong to provide a consistent ecosystem for the development of AI, or even harmonization of the law for the One Belt and One Road countries. Hong Kong has a long tradition of a common law system. At the same time, we have a deep understanding of the operation of the mainland legal system, which is based on the civil law system. The study of the development of AI law is therefore something that Hong Kong may be able to make substantial contribution. I would therefore urge the legal profession in Hong Kong to get equipped for the future development of the law in this area. I will also advocate for the establishment of some kind of study centers to study the legal and policy and legal consideration for the development of AI laws, and to establish a legal database for cases handled by the courts in different jurisdictions, in particular the mainland courts related to AI matters. Hong Kong has always played the role of a superconductor. Perhaps this is also an area that Hong Kong may play a more active role as a superconductor in promoting a more stable, favorable, and healthy ecosystem for the development of AI in the region. Now, that is all I can do in 15 minutes. I am always prepared to speak further on these issues. In the meantime, I'll leave this matter for you to think about after my speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, the Honorable Mr. Justice Locke. Please remain on stage and also proceed to the center stage front for our upcoming group photo opportunity. Now we would also like to invite the moderator and speakers of the upcoming panel discussion to join the Honorable Mr. Justice Locke on stage. So let's welcome, they are Dr. Lau. Let's welcome Dr. Patrick Lau onto the stage. We would also like to welcome Mr. Jose Antonio Marilet, SC. Mr. Marilet, please. We also have Mr. Roden Tong Man Long, Mr. Brian Chong Ka Lok, and Mr. Mark Wu, CDSM. Let's welcome them all onto the stage. Please look at official photographer right in front of you for photo. So let's promote multidisciplinary dialogue to enhance and also strengthen Hong Kong's position as a leading IP hub in the region. Big smile on your face. To capture this moment, we have a few more cameras right in front of you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, a round of applause to thank the Honorable Mr. Justice Locke for such an insightful introduction for us. Thank you. Thank you, the Honorable Mr. Justice Locke. Please be seated off stage. And we would also like to invite our moderator and upcoming speakers. Please take your seat on stage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed with the panel discussion on a comprehensive regime provides a stable environment for businesses to grow. We will have a Q&A session after the panel discussion. For on-site participants, if you have any questions for our panelists, just to remind you, please, you can simply scan the QR code on the screen for the Q&A, type and submit your questions. It is our pleasure to have invited Dr. Patrick Lau, Deputy Executive Director of Hong Kong Trade Development Council, to moderate the panel. So now I would also like to introduce our esteemed speakers to all of you. They are, starting from your left-hand side, Mr. Jose Antonio Marilet, SC, Vice Chairman of Hong Kong Bar Association. Next, we have Mr. Roden Tong Man Long, President of the Law Society of Hong Kong. Mr. Brian Chong Ka Lok, Director of Corruption Prevention of Independent Commission Against Corruption. And last but not the least, we have Mr. Mark Wu, CDSM, Deputy Commissioner, Control and Enforcement of Hong Kong Customs and Excise Department. Without further ado, you can see our gentlemen on stage already. I would like to pass over the time to our moderator. Dr. Lau, over to you, please.
Thank you. Firstly, thank you to Justice Locke for setting the scene for this wonderful panel that we have assembled here. We have 4 esteemed experts who will share their respective perspective very soon. And together, I think we make up a comprehensive legal regime. But to start with, I want to give a bit of perspective from HKTDC, some of the things that we do in terms of our first-hand observation. Firstly, about trade outlook. I want to ask perhaps the audience to see what do you think will be the Hong Kong trade numbers, the merchandise export numbers, if we take this number for this year, compared to last year. What would you think it will be the volume this year? Is it option A? Is it a negative number, say negative 3%? Option B is a positive 1%. And option C is a positive 10%. What would be the number year-on-year comparison for the latest number that we have for the merchandise trade of this year? So maybe putting your hands up for option A, negative 5%. Anyone? No? Anyone positive 1%? And anyone positive 10%? Okay, so some of you are obviously lawyers who are very reserved to not show your position. But the actual answer, Hong Kong merchandise export for the first 8 months, the data that we have for this year, increased 11.5% year-on-year. The exports are also up 8% in the same period. And this year, the total trade growth will be about, we expect, 9 to 11%. So this is obviously a positive trade outlook. Hopefully this is good news. If you have any doubt, you can also refer to our latest HKTDC Export Confidence Index survey. This survey actually shows that exporters are optimistic. They are expecting good sales and good new orders, and they're looking to expand procurement. So the second part I want to also challenge the audience, if I may, is international promotion activities. This is what we do at the HKTDC, and this is what the Legal Week is about also. So international promotion, at the HKTDC, we organize 40 trade conferences and anchor fairs in this location, in the exhibition center, every year, bring together international community to converge in Hong Kong, to do business, to do networking, to do deal making, to find investors and partners. So I want to ask, my question is, what do you think is the current level of participation in the HKTDC events? Because we have had some challenges during the COVID years when international travels was restricted, so we don't have as much international visitors. So do you think we have recovered to the all-time high of before COVID? Do you think we have recovered to, say, 50% of our previous high, option A, or 80%, option B, or 105%, say, or 110%, option C? We will take, for example, our flagship events this year, 2024, that we have already organized, including the Asian Financial Forum we organized in January, including the Asia Summit on Global Health we have in May, and then the Belt and Road Summit in September. So who will say option A, which is just 50%, so we only half returning to our events this year? Anyone? Oh, everyone is very confident about us, good. Option B, this 80% recovery, okay. And option C, 110%. Excellent. The actual correct answer is option C, because we have been setting record high attendances at the 3 conferences this year, 2024, that we just hosted. For example, the Belt and Road Summit in September 2024, about 2 months ago. We had 6,000 delegates coming from more than 72 countries and regions attending, converging here in Hong Kong to do business, to leverage on our Hong Kong ecosystem, including the very important legal services industry. So with that, I hope it has set more background. Obviously, the data is positive, but we are not ignoring that there are a lot of headwinds ahead. We all know the election result very recently. Obviously, the small and medium enterprises are still experiencing pain points. So those we know, but at least we can be comforted that we have strong momentum. We have good momentum in Hong Kong to continue. I want to say HKTDC have also been collaborating very closely with DOJ. DOJ colleagues have been working very well with our colleagues together on the several initiatives such as Legal Services Forum that we hosted in different mainland cities over the past decade. We have also done Resolve to Win campaign that have been at the Southeast Asian market as well as Greater Bay Area market. And also we have also done high-level business delegations led by the Secretary for Justice to the Middle East together. So this has been a very good collaboration. So without further ado, I want to pass to my panelists now. Our first panelist is Mr. Jose Antonio Malloret, the Vice Chairman of Hong Kong Bar Association. Jose?
Good morning. First of all, welcome to last day of Legal Week, and thank you for the Department of Justice for organizing today's event. So perhaps I'll just say 30 seconds about myself, then briefly explain how Hong Kong really fits in and is fully part of the common law world. So since I was called to the bar in the year of 2000, I've started practicing in the year of 2001. For those who do not come from a jurisdiction where there's a split legal profession, barristers are basically independent, self-employed lawyers who basically just do litigation, courtroom advocates, and a bit of arbitration. Since 2018, I also have had the privilege of sitting as a deputy judge of the High Court. So I've had the experience also, that experience which I thought I would share. And I've currently served for almost 3 years now as vice chair of the bar. So very quickly, and please forgive me if you already know all of this, because I know many members of the audience will know all of this. So the common law system, which existed prior to 1997, basically continued with minimal changes under the one country, two system model. So the substantive law that we apply, in particular in the commercial field, is essentially the same as that in England, Canada, Singapore, Australia, etc. And which is why in court, day in, day out, precedents from those jurisdictions are cited. And I think, as other people have mentioned before, it's not a one-way street. So whilst we will cite and rely on decisions of the English courts, of the Australian courts, of the Singaporean courts, Hong Kong decisions are often, very often cited in those jurisdictions. And I think that really reflects the richness of the common law world. So in the case I did last month, I just looked at it very quickly, of the authority cited, 50% would be non-Hong Kong, because obviously we are 7-odd million people, a relatively small jurisdiction in terms of numbers. Secondly, the courts have continued to operate in English and in Chinese as it had prior to the the resumption of exercise of sovereignty. Likewise, judges who previously were judges prior to the handover continued, so it was a very smooth transition. The appointment of judges ensure that judges in Hong Kong are extremely independent. So we have a Judicial Officers Recommendation Committee, which is chaired by the Chief Justice. It comprises of sitting judges and members of the two legal professions, the Bar and the Law Society. There are also some lay members. Now, this ensures that it's only the right people who are appointed, and they are appointed for their professional and judicial qualities, and that only. Now, it might be thought, well, what's the big deal about this? But you don't need to travel very far in some even largish advanced economies where when judges make ruling, you will see in the newspaper, it says, X appointed judge, Y appointed judge ruled against. This doesn't happen in Hong Kong, and this is something we're very proud of, and this will continue. Hong Kong also stands out for its inclusivity and its international aspect. We must be one of the very few jurisdictions anywhere in the world where, apart from our two officers, that of the Chief Justice and of the Chief Judge of the High Court, there's actually no nationality requirement. So whilst other jurisdictions in the Asia-Pacific region, for example, had to set up special courts, international courts, where they can have non-nationals as judges. In fact, in Hong Kong, we don't need to do that because there's no such requirements. And we can see this really adds to the strength and international position of Hong Kong. And of course, you've all been told about that Court of Final Appeal, which comprises of Australian and English judges from the highest officers. The legal profession also in Hong Kong is very international and diverse. We have local lawyers and non-local lawyers, in particular at the Law Society. I'll let the President of the Law Society deal with this, but they have what we call registered foreign lawyers. In other words, lawyers who practice the law of their home region. So as of yesterday, when I searched, there were 1,499 foreign registered lawyers, 237 practice, for example, English law. We have 400 who practice the law of in the mainland Chinese law, essentially. 462 the laws of New York. And of course, because as some of you know, in terms of the debt capital markets, a lot of the bonds would either be governed by New York law or on occasions, if it's bank loans, English law. So this adds basically to the richness and the talent pool of Hong Kong. Now, the bar itself, historically, as some of you may know, we've always had our fair share of English, Australian, New Zealand, Canadian barristers for obvious reasons. In recent years, actually, we've had people who've come from France, South Korea, and indeed, of all places, Singapore, because they have a fused legal profession. So some very bright Oxbridge students who are Singaporeans actually decided to come to Hong Kong to practice at the Hong Kong bar. So we think this really is testament to the opportunities and the status of Hong Kong as an international dispute resolution center and also as an international finance center. So in some sense, if one wants to know where are we today in 2024 in terms of the law in Hong Kong as opposed to some of the other common law jurisdictions, you can really test it in this way. If it were any materially different, how could it be that we can have a seamless process whereby, for example, retired English High Court judges could come here and sit as deputies? Why are we able to have foreign counsel come on an ad hoc basis to conduct cases in Hong Kong? And this really shows that it is the same ecosystem. So I'll come back to the independence of the Hong Kong judiciary as a key feature of our jurisdiction. And since the Secretary for Justice has now left, I can say this, but a telltale sign in any jurisdiction is you ask yourself, if you are an individual or an NGO or any other party, is it actually possible to win a case against the government? Now, we know in many jurisdictions that either never happens or only happens once in a blue moon. Or perhaps it happens more in Hong Kong than the department would want, but we actually think it's a good sign, it's a healthy sign of the rule of law in action, that everyone and all are under the law. The same goes, of course, for private litigation. So courts decide cases based on the evidence and the legal merits, not who the directors are, not who the shareholders are, not who controls the company. And there are too many examples to give, but all the judgments in Hong Kong, essentially, apart from a very small percentage, are all uploaded on the judiciary's website. So anyone is able to really have a look at why and how cases are decided. Now, of course, we would say the legal professions, the independent judiciary is of course very important, but independent legal professions are always very important too. And both the bar and the law society operate, and I know the President will say more about this in a moment, about the fact we're self-regulating professions, which is important. It means that our members get up their practicing certificates from the professions. We deal with disciplinary. And we believe that this is also a key and cornerstone of a free and independent legal system which works. In addition, of course, we also have what is called the cab rank rule at the bar, in the sense that all our members are obliged to act for anybody who is in need of legal advice or legal representation, irrespective of what you may think of that person, irrespective of whether that person is popular or unpopular, whether he's a plaintiff or defendant. So in other words, if you're free, you're able to do it, he's willing to pay your usual fee, you have to take up the case. Now, why is this important? This really ensures that a fair trial, you have, of course, the independent judiciary, but you also have the right to legal representation. And that is something very important, which is scrupulously applied in Hong Kong. Now, in recent years, in some jurisdictions, we've seen the unfortunate trend of, in a number of cases, whatever they may be, pressure being put on lawyers for not acting for certain people because they were seen to be unpopular or not on the right side, depending on where we are. Now, very fortunately, there's no such thing here. So I've no doubt that these affirmations are here to stay. The maintenance of the rule of law and independent judiciary in Hong Kong is important for both the business community, those who trade and invest here, and also for our residents at large. The central government fully recognizes the importance of Hong Kong's legal system. In 2022, at the 25th anniversary of the handover, President Xi Jinping emphasized the one country, two system principle was here will be adhered to in the long run, and that the central people's government fully supports Hong Kong in maintaining its distinctive status and edges, as well as our open business environment and connectivity to the world. In the 1.5 minute left I have, I'll just say three things. That in the latest World Justice Project ranking in 2024, Hong Kong ranked 23rd as a jurisdiction, which was the same, for example, as France, with a score of 0.72. We've actually scored a lot higher than some other countries close to France, but since there are a lot of consul generals from jurisdictions nearby, I will say nothing. I'll just say we're doing okay. In terms of absence of corruption, I'll let the Director of Corruption Prevention say more about this, but actually, according to the WJP project, Hong Kong ranks 10th in terms of least corrupt jurisdiction. In fact, our model's been so successful that the ICAC, the Independent Commission Against Corruption, has been a model which has basically been emulated in other jurisdictions. So the last thing I'll say is a little bit about arbitration, which is at the last Queen Mary study, which is a little bit dated now, but there's no latest one. Hong Kong ranked 3rd. The HKIC handled $12.5 billion of dispute last year. The average dispute, which was administered by the center, was about $60 million. Its council has people from UK, US, Europe, Hong Kong, the rest of China, but of course also India, Kenya, Korea, Japan. And again, we say that this really reflects the strength of Hong Kong, both as a venue for dispute resolution and also for investing and forming companies. So I'm slightly out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jose. And next up, Roden, the president of the Law Society.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor to speak to you all at this year's Hong Kong Legal Week. The theme for today is Rule of Law, the best business environment. 法治是最好嘅營商環境. This is one of the very famous quotes by President Xi Jinping. The rule of law is very much tied to Hong Kong's success as an international business center. The panel is to discuss the comprehensive regime provides a stable environment for business to grow. So my learned friend Jose has just shared with us on the litigation and disputes resolution regime. And my sharing will focus on two key areas. Firstly, the legislation and regulations. And secondly, the unique self-regulatory role of the legal professions. So I'm going to start with the legislations and regulations. Legislations and regulations are an important legal infrastructure supporting and promoting business development in Hong Kong. Let me give you some examples. Hong Kong has a free trade policy and maintains low barriers on trade. There's no custom tariff on goods imported into or exported from Hong Kong. Due to the China-Hong Kong Coastal Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, products can be imported to China with zero tariffs, provided your business complies with the relevant regulations. Under Article 112 of the Basic Law, Hong Kong has no foreign exchange control, so business can exchange currency easily. The free flow of capital is also protected. Hong Kong also has a stable banking system and is home to many reputable local and international banks. Banks in Hong Kong provide a wide range of financial services, from retail banking to corporate and trade finance, and to wealth management and insurance. It also facilitates capital flows between mainland China and the rest of the world. Hong Kong has a low tax regime with a maximum marginal corporate tax rate of 16.5% and a progressive personal income tax structure. In other words, we have a favorable tax environment for business and trust to establish and grow. Hong Kong's tax concessions and arrangements for family office have been welcomed by family office and high net worth individuals. According to the research findings of the consultant commissioned by the Invest Hong Kong and published in March this year, there were around 2,700 family offices operating in Hong Kong and more than 650 inquiries on setting up family office in Hong Kong, mainly from the mainland, Asian countries, the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas. Given the significance of this sector, the Law Society also established a family office practice committee in August this year to oversee these potential opportunities. All these examples show that our business-friendly legislation and regulations provides a stable environment for business to grow. So looking ahead, with the rapid growth of the global sports market, there's a huge potential of business expansions. We can see that the evolving sporting landscape has created demands from sports clubs and federations, governing bodies, individual athletes, event organizers, brands, sponsors, broadcasters, sports technologies, companies, and others for work in many rising areas that require our specialist legal skills. The growing exposure of ethics also leads the lead for more legal protection on sporting celebrity image and trademark matters, etc. The rising sports law regime should not be overlooked. To raise awareness of the legal issue that may arise from sports and how Hong Kong legal services are well equipped to support Hong Kong as Asia sports hub. The Law Society is also planning this mega sports event scheduled for February next year. This event including the Sports Law Conference, the live Guangdong Hong Kong Macau Sports Meet, and also the gala dinner. Not to mention, there will be the 15 national games to be held in Hong Kong in November 2025. So the second area I wish to talk about is the unique self-regulatory role of the legal profession. We have a diverse talent pool of over 13,000 solicitors and around 1,400 foreign lawyers from 31 jurisdictions. My learned friend just shared with us that we have more than 900 law firms in Hong Kong, and some of these firms have overseas offices in mainland China. We also have a pool of Greater Bay Area lawyers. Many of them are multilingual and qualified in multiple jurisdictions. We have a strong pool of legal talents providing a wide range of professional legal services to meet diverse needs of the business. Under Hong Kong's open door policy, solicitors from other jurisdictions can qualify as solicitors in Hong Kong by taking the Overseas Lawyers Qualification Examination, enriching the diversity and internationalism of Hong Kong's legal services market. In 2023, 244 candidates from 18 jurisdictions, including 9 non-common law jurisdictions, participated in the OLQE. 5 of them were barristers in Hong Kong. This marked the highest registration number in the past decade, representing a 55% increase from the year before. The Law Society of Hong Kong is both the self-regulatory body and professional association for solicitors in Hong Kong. It is entrusted with the statutory duty to monitor the conduct of law firms and lawyers to maintain the highest standards. An independent legal profession has a crucial role to play in upholding the rule of law. The fact that the Hong Kong legal profession is allowed to shoulder the responsibility of regulating itself speaks volumes about its higher standards and the trust the profession commands in the society. Self-regulation is and must be underscored by a rigorous and continued capacity building program which updates technical skill set of the professions, manage expectations and challenges, and establish a good governance. So we have a CPT LME scheme in place. The Law Society and the Academy of Law conduct a total of 299 CPT and LME courses during 2023. The courses covered a wide range of topics from professional conduct to legal technology, for example, the artificial intelligence. So up to this moment, you may want to ask me what role the Hong Kong legal profession can play in facilitating business growth. The Law Society of Hong Kong has established a friendly relationship with many legal associations around the world and signed various memorandum of understanding with the different legal associations and organizations from overseas and Greater China region. As of today, we have signed 47 MOUs with 44 overseas lawyers associations and international legal organizations from 29 jurisdictions, and 57 MOUs with 48 lawyers associations and 15 organizations in the Greater China region. So some of the highlights include, in May this year, we actually signed an MOU with the Dubai International Financial Center DIFC Courts, which is the first agreement of its kind between the Law Society and the Middle East court system. The MOU aimed to facilitate knowledge sharing, training programs, deepen ties with the DIFC Court, will further strengthen Hong Kong's position as a leading center for international legal and dispute resolution services. Recognizing the significant legal services market between Vietnam and China, we in October also signed an MOU with the Vietnam Bar Federation, inviting Vietnamese counterparts to consider using Hong Kong law to govern contracts, chose Hong Kong as a seat of dispute resolution, and using Hong Kong company as a holding vehicle for business operations. We also signed an MOU with the Egyptian Bar Association. Egypt's economy is diverse, with agriculture, manufacturing, energy, and services consulting the bulk of its output. Its strategic location serves as a gateway for business looking to access markets in the Middle East and Africa. Hong Kong's legal profession can play a vital role in facilitating collaboration and economic growth. Later this afternoon, here in the HKCEC, the Law Society of Hong Kong is going to sign another MOU, cooperation agreement with Xinjiang Lawyers Association to leverage the significant development opportunities presented by the Belt and Road initiatives, China's free trade zones, and the establishment of legal service areas along the Silk Road economic belt. The signing ceremony, as I said, will take place here, so please do join us this afternoon. So from now, I think the Law Society and all the profession, including our counterpart, the Bar Association, actually as a bridge between the legal and business communities between the East and the West. On that note, so I wish everyone a very good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roden. Next up, we all know that a corruption-free business environment is pivotal to ensuring a fair and safe trade and investment environment. So we're very proud to have ICAC in Hong Kong. We have Independent Commission Against Corruptions, Mr. Brian Chong, Director of Corruption Prevention here today. Brian, please.
Thank you, Patrick. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it's a great privilege for ICAC and myself to be part of this significant event. My topic today is Hong Kong's anti-corruption regime, our competitive edge. In the interest of time, I will be. I think I will only have the time to focus on a few very recent initiatives of the ICAC, and I'll go back to this topic at the end of my presentation as to why do we think that the anti-corruption regime is our competitive edge. To start off, a bit of history. Oh, sorry. Well, I thought it was operated by AI. First of all, a bit of history. For those who are senior enough in this room, I believe you would agree with the description that corruption was a way of life before the ICAC was set up. And it was actually very rampant in the public sector. Of course, the last straw is that a senior police officer, Mr. Peter Corbett, actually was able to get away while he was under police investigation. And so the ICAC was set up in the 1974. And that means we are now 50 years of age, 50 years old this year. And at that time when the ICAC was set up, the governor actually put much emphasis on the independence of this agency. And such independence was further safeguarded in our basic law in Article 57, saying that basically there are two sentences. The first one is the Commission Against Corruption, so we have established in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. And the second one it says that it shall function independently and be accountable to the Chief Executive. That reflects how important was the organization as well as its independence. So what we have achieved in the last half a century, basically every year we would conduct an annual survey as to the feedback of the citizens of Hong Kong on the work of the ICAC. There are a number of questions asked actually, and I believe for me who have been working in the agency for nearly 30 years, I think the most meaningful one is the first one, nearly zero tolerance of corruption. I say so because we have successfully turned the society from one which actually tolerate corruption to one now we basically do not tolerate it. And internationally, I will go a little bit fast because of the time. And internationally, as mentioned by Jose just now, we did well in the Rule of Law Index. And also, what is being commonly quoted is perhaps the Corruption Perception Index conducted by the Transparency International. We did 14. We was ranked 14th last year, and actually we did a little bit better, number 12, the year in 2022. But I would also like to quote another survey, the IMD World Competitiveness Yearbook. And as says here, we did very well, ranked number 4 in terms of bribery and corruption do not exist indicator. So in terms of figures, this is basically some statistics of the number of complaints we receive every year since the establishment of the ICAC. But I would like to emphasize, complaint figures does not necessarily means the corruption situation. I wish I would have the time to go into this during the discussion time, because someone might mistaken that, well, is it very serious in terms of the corruption situation, as we are having 2,000 complaints every year, which is not the case actually. So the organization, we always advocate our three-pronged strategy, which means that we fight corruption from a law enforcement angle, corruption prevention, which is the department which I'm from, and also from the education. This is a decorative wall of our office, and which is actually created to remind our officers the various strategy that we should stick to in terms of preventing corruption. And today I'll focus on this one, partnership. We really need an AI for this. So integrity charters is an initiative to combat and prevent corruption through public-private partnership. Under the charter initiative, the ICAC work closely with various stakeholders and would proactively reach out and provide comprehensive support to participating corporations in establishing an integrity management system, which encompasses an integrity policy, regular integrity management training, and corruption risk management plans. Integrity charter initiatives enhance the corporate governance of business sectors by cultivating an integrity culture. So, in essence, this is a program which we start off in 2021 with various stakeholders in the construction sector. The purpose, as I've just said, is to create an integrity culture. The reason why is because in Hong Kong, our powers came from the ICAC ordinance, and under Section 12 and 13, the ICAC Commissioner was actually provided with the statutory duties to conduct corruption prevention work. But such powers such powers allow us to actually go to examine the procedures of government departments and public bodies and to give them advice as to how to overcome some corruption loopholes. But for private sector, we do not have such powers. So we have to devise a mechanism to reach our hands to private sector. And you may also notice that in some jurisdictions, there are provisions to compel actually corporations to implement integrity management measures. Otherwise, such companies might commit an offense. But of course, in Hong Kong, we do not think this would be an ideal arrangement given our situation. So we devise such integrity charters. And so far, we have reached out to the construction sector, the business sector in general with different stakeholders. And recently, we have actually worked with the Hong Kong monetary authorities and HCAP to extend the charter to the banking sector. And another initiative is the Integrity Management Award. And actually, this Wednesday evening, we have awarded the IM Awards to two major construction contractors in Hong Kong. One is Gammon and the other is China Construction. And it's an initiative to incentivize cooperation which did well in integrity management. And again, it follows a principle that have been advocated in the Conference of State Parties held last year in Atlanta, which says that state parties to provide incentives for the private sector to adopt integrity measures to prevent and combat corruption. So we do not invent all this by ourselves. We basically adopt some measures which are widely adopted and promulgated internationally. Well, Belt and Road, of course, a very important regime, and we're glad that last year during the summit, our president actually announced 8 major steps, and number 7 of it is the building a clean steel road. Well, perhaps one thing you might not know yet is that behind this step number 7, actually there was a whole scheme called the high-level principles on Belt and Road integrity building. It comprises a lot of principles, which of course I don't have the time to go into details, but the most important thing relevant to the topic today is principle number 10, which actually says to build up public-private partnership and strengthen the principle of integrity in doing business, and provide incentive to enterprises for commencing preventive work to guard against corruption. So again, basically, the 2 initiatives that I've just mentioned fits in very well with this principle. Some other initiative that I would like to mention is that perhaps you know it, this year we have established our Hong Kong International Academy Against Corruption. One of the major purposes was to provide international training to our counterparts around the world. And this is basically what the places or cities that we have covered so far. Our commissioner always jokingly said that we have visited most part of the world, nearly all the continents, except the north and south end of it. And we will continue to work hard on this. But why do we want to provide training to our counterparts around the world? First of all, it's written down in the mandate of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, the UNCAC. And our country had actually ratified UNCAC in January 2006. And ICAC was named as the representative agency with regard to the implementation of UNCAC in Hong Kong. In the UNCAC, there are basically 5 main chapters. And the last one concerns technical assistance information exchange. And what's written in this chapter article is basically, in essence, it encourages state parties and to provide training assistance to other countries, especially those developing countries. Another mandate we have is under the terms of reference of the International Association of Anti-Corruption Authorities, the IACA, who is, and our commissioner is now actually the president of it. And one of the objectives is to promote the effective implementation of the UNCAC and to assist anti-corruption authorities, agencies worldwide in the prevention of fight against corruption. And that's basically the reason why we send our officers to different parts of the world to assist them to build up their capacity in fighting corruption, and also arrange courses to invite them to come to Hong Kong to attend this training. And what I've just said is basically we have formed a tri-party relationship in combating corruption. We are practitioner, ICAC, day in, day out. We do a lot of investigation. We do a lot of corruption prevention assignment for different parties. And throughout this business, we generate a lot of experience and professional knowledge. And therefore, we have the such knowledge and capability to build up training materials. And through this IACA, the academy, we tidy up these materials and provide trainings through the network of the IACA. That's how the tri-party relationship is operating. Well, lastly, which is also the most important part of my presentation, going back to the topic at the first slide, is a competitive edge of us. I think, first of all, Hong Kong has a very comprehensive anti-corruption regime, which is supported by a robust rule of law system. Without rule of law, I don't think the anti-corruption work will be successful in Hong Kong. And apart from a legal framework, we have also established very comprehensive integrity management systems in government and public bodies. What I'm trying to say is, apart from the laws, there are actually a lot of regulations, guidelines, embedded in every part of the operation of the government and public bodies. For example, in terms of procurement, in terms of declaration of conflict of interest, which are equally important in a fight against corruption. And of course, also equally important is that the ICAC is willing to provide assistance to companies in Hong Kong to combat corruption in terms of providing corruption prevention services. And more importantly, these services are free. And if you were able to escalate or enhance your integrity management system, you will, of course, be making yourself ready to enter into various markets, especially that along the Belt and Road, which are now putting much more emphasis on integrity. And lastly, also certainly not the least, is the strong integrity culture of Hong Kong. I think anti-corruption or intolerance to corruption have been now embedded into the blood and DNA of Hong Kong citizens. So if you are operating a business in Hong Kong, you can sure expecting to work with people who embrace fairness and equality. That's all for me.
Thank you, Brian. The last but not least, intellectual property, a very important topic. We have the Deputy Commissioner, Mark, from the Hong Kong Custom, who will share with us. Thank you, Mark.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's very risky to be the last presenter because when we come to the last presentations, it almost run out of time. And it's my great pleasure here to share with you the IP protection regime in Hong Kong. And today, I'm not going to talk about the legal point of view or to talk about the ordinance, because I think there are many legal professionals and judges here. And today, I would like to share with you the IP protection regime from customs perspective, a law enforcement agency in Hong Kong. How important is the intellectual property right? IP industry is very important to Hong Kong, which contribute significantly to Hong Kong's economy. For example, the creative industry, entertainment industry, and software technology sectors. Hong Kong's intellectual property intensive industry accounts for 30% of Hong Kong GDP and the total employment. And Hong Kong stands as a licensing hub in Asia. Many licensing agents operate their headquarters in Hong Kong. In 2022, the total values of IP-related export and import is 5.8 billion Hong Kong dollars and 60.3 billion respectively. Hong Kong is highly competitive in IP industry. And we ranked 8th globally on IPR according to 2024 World Competitive Yearbook, and also in another survey conducted by World Intellectual Property Organization's Global Innovation Index 2024, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Guangzhou Technology Cluster is ranked 2nd as the most intensive regions for innovation and technology activities for the 5th consecutive years. Regional IP Trading Center. Intellectual property comprise a group of intangible assets like trademarks, copyright, designs, and patents. And IP trading refer to buying, selling, and authorizing, transferring the IP rights. And Hong Kong has many edges in developing ourselves into the IP trading center. First, as a regional financial and logistic hub, Hong Kong has long been a marketplace for different types of IP. Our advantages including legal system, our financial resources and system, robust IP protection regime, and most importantly, a pool of IP specialists, providing, for example, accounting and legal services. And second, our nation's 45-year plan has clearly supported Hong Kong to develop into a regional IP trading center. This reinforces our status as an important IP trading center at national level. Moreover, the outlined development plan for the Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau Greater Bay Area also supports Hong Kong's progress by leveraging on our existing advantage like our legal system, robust IP regime, and related professional services. IP protections stands as one of the most important pillars supporting our ambitions to develop as an IP trading hub. In fact, Hong Kong government attached great importance to the protections of IP rights because it liked setting up a defensive wall to protect your business. On the legislative front, we have a robust legal framework, and our legislations fully complies with the international standards under various treaties, such as the Agreement on Trade-Related Aspects of the IPR of the World Trade Organizations. The Hong Kong government also keep enhancing our legislations in order to meet Hong Kong's development needs. Second is enforcement. Enforcement is a major component for our multi-pronged approach to combat global problem of the IP crimes. And over the years, Hong Kong Customs spare no efforts in protecting the legitimate interests of the IP right owner through rigorous enforcement actions. And apart from the enforcement actions, we need to form a strategic partnerships with the other law enforcement agency and industry players. And last but not least, publicity and education is the cornerstone for the IP protections. Legal framework. The IP legal framework in Hong Kong safeguards the legitimate interests of the investor and business player. IP protection is guaranteed by Article 139 and Article 140 of the Basic Law. It stipulates that Hong Kong SAR should develop appropriate policy and afford legal protections for the intellectual property right. And we have a very sensible and logical division of work between the Intellectual Property Department and Custom and Excise Department. The IPD is responsible for advising the government on policy and the legislations, and operating the Hong Kong SAR's trademarks, patents, and registered design and corporate licensing registry. And Hong Kong Customs is responsible for the criminal enforcement. And we are also empowered by the law to prosecute and conduct forfeitures to the infringing items. Here, I want to show you some enforcement statistics. Under the intelligence-led mode of operations, Hong Kong Customs detect 703 cases last year and arrest 329 persons, received a total of 730,000 infringing items, which valued at 288 million Hong Kong dollars. And our stringent enforcement actions not only demonstrate our commitment to combat counterfeiting activities, but more importantly, demonstrate our commitment to the protections of the interests of the IP owner, as well as our promise to the international community. And the advancement in technology also brought great challenges in IP protections. And the rise in online privacy has further added complications to the situations. For example, illicit website, peer-to-peer networks, artificial intelligence, and the rise of online marketplaces not only make our unauthorized sharing and sales of counterfeit products much easier, but they also create new enforcement difficulty because it's very difficult to trace the sellers. Let's take a look at the figures, which underscore a noticeable upward trend in both global and domestic cybercrimes over the past 2 years. According to the World Customs Organization's annual report, the estimated cost of cybercrime worldwide increased by 50% last year when compared to 2022 to nearly $8.2 trillion US dollars. And this global trend mirrors our local scenarios. Over the past 2 years, the number of online IP infringement cases detected by Hong Kong Customs increased by 26%, with the total value of seizures surged by 79% to over 9 million Hong Kong dollars. In order to address the IP-related crime in the internet, Hong Kong Customs has established an anti-internet piracy team, which is to enhance our investigation and evidence preservation capability. And this team also will design different monitoring tools to monitor the online piracy round the clock. Now I would like to talk about the strategic partnerships. Hong Kong Customs understands in the fight against IP crimes, we cannot take on the threat alone. And over the years, we have been proactively seeking greater cooperations with the IPR industry and other law enforcement agents. At the international level, Hong Kong Customs has actively participated in various joint operations organized by the World Customs Organization and Interpol. And second, in 2015, Hong Kong Customs signed MOU with 5 major express courier operators to foster closer cooperations. And these cooperations help enhance our capability to profile high-risk consignment. And also we have established very close cooperation with other international associations and other business stakeholders. And I think the best way to protect IP is through education, because it is only through education that we can really change the mindset or influence the behavior. This explains why Hong Kong Customs attach great importance to IP educations. In order to nurture a culture that appreciates, respect, and make good use of the IPR among the younger generations, Hong Kong Customs put in place Custom Yes program. At present, we have recruited over 7,500 teenagers aged between 12 and 24. We also organize thematic seminars and sharing sections to keep our frontline officers abreast of the crime, the latest crime trend and the anti-counterfeit features of different brands. And finally, come to my last pages. Hong Kong's IP protections regime is highly praised by the international community. Not only the law enforcement, but also the industry stakeholder. And looking ahead, Hong Kong Customs will keep a more active and leading role in the region, because we just assumed the vice chairpersons of the for the Asia Pacific region of the World Customs Organizations. We will actively promote IP-related program and initiative in the Asia Pacific regions. And more importantly, we will make use of different platforms to tell the good story of Hong Kong's IP protections, so that we wish to attract more IP investment and business opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Even though we started this session a bit late, but I think we fully used up our time for this session. So I do want to apologize for audience who logged in comments or questions for the panel. But I think we already have a lot of food for thought from the 4 esteemed speakers. I just want to close perhaps by summarizing all the questions in one final takeaway point from each speaker, maybe 10 seconds each speaker, very strictly enforced. What would be the most, one thing that you want the audience to take away in terms of for the future? What are the most exciting, or one or two area of most exciting thing that you want the audience to take away from your presentation today? Maybe starting with Jose.
Thank you. 10 seconds. So I would simply say, don't just rely on what you read in newspapers. Go out around Hong Kong and open your eyes and decide for yourself.
Excellent. Roden.
So I would say that is our very unique one country, two system. We are the only bilingual common law system in the world.
Excellent. And Brian.
Very tough question. I think we did make some achievement in the last 50 years in terms of fighting corruption, but we should not be complacent because the challenges are out there. And the last one would be Hong Kong. Our advantage is you and the ICAC.
Excellent. And Mark.
Thank you. The advancement in technology really bring many challenges to law enforcement agents and the government around the world. I think we need to work together, to work closely together.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Please put your hands together for the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, a round of applause to our moderator, Dr. Lau. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a round of applause to our moderator and also our speakers. Thank you, Dr. Lau. Thank you, Mr. Marilette, Mr. Tong, Mr. Chung, and Mr. Wu. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. After such an insightful panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, coming up will be a fireside chat on good stories of Hong Kong enterprises. Our guest speakers from the asset management and medical technology sectors will share the successful stories of their businesses in Hong Kong. Moreover, they will explore how Hong Kong's strategic positioning within the national framework has enabled its enterprise to thrive both locally and globally. Before we commence the upcoming Fireside Chat, just want to remind everyone that this Fireside Chat section will be conducted in Cantonese, and simultaneous interpretation in English and also Putonghua are provided. You can tune to Channel 1 for English, Channel 2 for Cantonese, and Channel 3 for Putonghua. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome our moderator and also our speakers onto the stage. Just want to remind all of you, while our speakers are presenting on stage, you can actually scan the QR code on the screen to submit your questions for our panelists. And not only it's for on-site participants, but also for our attendees who are joining us virtually online. Ladies and gentlemen, just want to once again remind everyone we still have a fireside chat session before our lunch commences before 1 p.m. So please do grab a seat and join us for this upcoming session. And now we would like to officially once again welcome the moderator onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Herman Ze, Head of Business and Professional Services Industries Coverage Group of Invest Hong Kong, onto the stage. A round of applause to welcome Mr. Ze. Joining Mr. Ze on stage for the Fireside Chat, we have Mr. Kwan Chi Man, founder and CEO of Raffles Family Office, former chair of Family Office Association Hong Kong. Welcome, Mr. Kwan. And we also have Mr. Simon Young, founder and chief operating officer of Time Medical Systems. Welcome. Let's a round of applause to welcome Mr. Young. So without further ado, to grab every opportunity to learn from our moderator and speakers, I would like to officially pass the time and stage to our moderator, Mr. Ze. Over to you, please.
Okay, thank you. 我諗我用返廣東話，我想
今日呢個 Fireside Chat 可以比較輕鬆啲嘅 discussion。咁我係香文者投資推廣署 Invest Hong Kong 嘅代表。咁今日好榮幸我哋有2位嘉賓，或者我等陣間先介紹佢哋。我想講嘅咧就係香港係一個做生意最自由嘅地方。咁我哋最新嘅國際 ranking 已經係 number one，the freest economy in the world。咁有一個好嘅營商環境的話咧，係有個最重要係一個好嘅法律制度。咁我哋一路以嚟香港都好 proud of 我哋嘅法律制度嘅。咁所以喺呢個 Legal Week 裏邊咧，我哋呢個 Fireside Chat 主要嘅目的就係希望請2位好出色嘅企業家，完全唔同嘅 industry。就係想希望佢哋講出嚟，就話香港嘅法律制度點樣可以幫到佢哋做生意而做得成功嘅。咁所以而家咧，我首先就介紹就係Chairman Kwan 就係Raffles Family Office 嘅 Group Chief Executive。咁另一位咧就係 Simon Yang， 佢係Times Medical System 嘅 Founder 同埋 Chief Operating Officer。咁2間公司係好完全唔同嘅生意。咁首先，但係我就請阿 Chairman 介紹自己先。
OK， 好，大家好。咁我就我姓關叫 Chairman 啦。咁點解我叫 Chairman 就即係我同阿 Simon 好得意，頭先喺門口啱啱識咗啦。咁我哋個名都有個敏字嘅，所以好細個我哋都通常唔會同人講我叫中文名嘅，即係叫 Chairman， 因為中文名係關志敏。咁通常一叫，通常佢哋 expect 個女仔出嚟 say hi。咁呢個咁雖然我係個香港人啦，我成日都話，但係其實咧我係澳門出世，香港大。咁其實我香港時間喺我細個畢業之前喺香港4年嘅啫。我真正最大嘅時間生活嘅地方其實係新加坡，所以你可以話我係一個喺揸住香港特區護照嘅新加坡人，定係啱啱相反。咁所以好多時候即係畢咗業之後啦，咁就嚟翻咗嚟香港做嘢。咁好多時候人哋都會成日都會由細到大都問我，喂，香港住得好啲定新加坡好啲啊？咁尤其是喺我呢家呢個行業叫一個 family office 家族辦公室呢個行業咧，其實當然我諗全世界好多地方都有一個競爭喺度，都想成為一個家族辦公室嘅樞紐點 family office hub。咁亦都最 hot 嘅 topic 就係香港、新加坡啦。咁轉頭我都可能 share 多啲關於呢方面。咁我都想即係一個定位就係話，其實我係一半一半嘅，我係好 neutral 嘅。咁亦都係一個好大嘅原因，係因為我都兩邊嘅血都流住嘅。咁呢個就係啦。咁呢個我最想要介紹自己。Thank you， 做 Simon。
多謝。Simon， 請你介紹自己。
好，咁頭先阿 Chairman 講啦，佢個名係似女仔，我個名仲似女仔，我叫思文。
我叫志敏啊，其實差唔多。
咁其實我都係土生土長香港人啦。咁我即係都係香港讀書之後，就喺全球唔同嘅地方，我喺度做過嘢咯。喺美國啊、南美啊、歐洲啊，我都喺度做過嘢。咁最尾都係翻咗嚟香港成立咗我哋嘅公司啦。咁我哋公司就係主要做大型嘅醫療設備咧，就譬如磁力共振系統啦。咁有啲乜有原因？因為我以前咧，即係磁力共振冇咁普及嘅。我婆婆可能好早就過身啦，因為可能嗰陣時醫療嗰個設備唔係咁足夠。咁所以我就諗住咧喺香港咧成立個公司，就可以咧做一個咧我哋叫價廉物美啦，即係香港我哋叫平靚正嘅 system 咧，就可以惠及全球嘅唔同嘅地方嘅人民啊。咁陣間可以再講一講點解我喺翻嚟香港度start up 個公司咧咁樣。
好啊，嗱咁所以大家可以聽到啦 ，Chairman 嗰間公司 Raffles Family Office 係一個 wealth management 嘅公司，幫人 manage wealth 同埋 family offices。financial 嘅公司，金融嘅公司。Simon 嗰間係一間 technology 嘅公司，兩個好完全唔同嘅 industry。咁但係香港嘅法律制度有啲咩嘢可以幫到佢咧？咁嗱 ，Chairman， 我首先想同你問下你最近生意點啊？
呢個問題好尷尬，其實呢個咁呢度。 我諗喺香港嚟講，其實我哋好幸福嘅。我成日都話我哋即係我成日都同我啲同事分享啦，或者有啲唔同分享就話，其實我哋好幸福嘅。其實我哋係坐一個風口，無論係一個時代嘅風口啦，或者地理位置嘅風口，其實香港係我哋香港人好幸福。我成日都話，咁所以喺呢方面，無論短同長，我都一定會講生意係非常之 promising， 非常之好嘅呢個。
好多謝你因為最近我哋都我諗近啲3年嚟啦，我哋香港政府都大力推動呢個 family office 嘅 industry 啦。咁亦都最近我諗係呢一年裏邊啦，2024年啦，都聽到有好多 promising 嘅成績。咁我哋嘅成個香港嘅 wealth management 嘅金額咧，已經係越嚟越高啦。咁亦都好多國際大嘅銀行啦，亦都好支持香港啦，繼做大香港嘅生意啦。喺呢個 wealth management 呢一方面嘅生意。咁好啦，所以入翻個正題就話 ，Chairman， 你覺得香港嘅法律制度對 wealth management 呢個 industry 有啲咩影響，有啲咩幫助咧？
或者我咁講，可能我會 take 幾個 step back， 可能去即係 bigger picture 去睇呢件事。咁其實喺上個禮拜定幾日前，其實我喺 Hong Kong U 嗰度 share 咗同一班香港政府嘅朋友 share 咗，分享咗關於香港我哋個優勢其實喺邊度。咁又或者個真正嘅競爭嗰個KPI 啦，我哋點樣可以成為呢個亞洲嘅家族辦公室嘅樞紐點，即係成為亞洲即係呢個 family office 嘅一哥啦，可以話。咁其實好多時候大家都係我哋最後傾咗一個朝頭早，最後 conclusion 其實係講一樣嘢，就係講 talent 人才。咁如果你睇翻人才就係話，喂，咁譬如我哋成日都話我做咗一個好實在嘅例子。咁之前大家都會話，係咪點解 talent 咁重要咧？係咪我哋過去發生啲咩事？譬如話過去幾年，我哋香港都經歷咗啲好艱辛嘅時間。咁當中有啲嘢發生咗，啲人話，喂，係咪有啲嘢發生咗？我哋係咪有啲人將 family office 搬去新加坡啊？咁樣咁呢個好 common 嘅一個 topic， 好問過好多次，喺過去2-3年好多人問我。咁我成日都會答翻轉頭就話，其實我哋只要 focus 喺我哋嘅 talent 咧。係我哋 eventually 係會贏呢場仗。咁點解咁講咧？其實好簡單一個例子，你 imagine 香港一個富豪，佢嘅 family office 喺香港，我有10個好嘅 talent， 可能有 operation， 可能有 CIO， 可能有 trader， 可能有唔同嘅 portfolio manager， 可能有唔同嘅種種嘅 function 嘅同事，有 legal 嘅同事、accounting 嘅同事喺呢個 family office 入邊。咁如果因某啲原因佢想 set up 另外一個 office 喺另外一個地方，其實第一樣嘢佢最頭痛嘅係 talent。咁如果喺呢一方面，我哋香港人最叻嘅就係我哋做嘢效率高、靈活性高。其實喺呢一方面，其實我哋已經好大嘅優勢。所以，但係 talent 要喺呢個地方又講翻轉頭，咁呢個地方點會有咁多 talent 呢？其實我哋成日都話 stability in terms of political stability in terms of rule of law regulations。咁但係呢3樣嘢都一定係 based on 個 foundation of 個 rule of law 一定要好透明，同埋嘅 enforcement 要好清晰。咁所以喺呢一方面，即係喺英國，以前我喺英國大學畢業啦。咁其實即係我細個，我屋企人福建人。咁我細個放summer我都會翻鄉下，翻福建喺福州嗰度。咁但係我又喺澳門住過，我喺新加坡住過，我喺英國住過，原來我有屋企人喺澳洲、喺加拿大都有，但係點解最後我呢個人都會翻嚟香港呢？當然有幾個原因，但係其中一個好大嘅 underlying， 而好多人亦都係忽視，亦都冇去 celebrate。We don't celebrate enough， 就係其實香港 rule of law 係 set 咗一個好好嘅 foundation 俾我哋一班 talent 喺香港做發展，又或者好簡單成家立室。喺度有，即係我有3個小朋友，佢哋返學，我從來都唔會驚佢哋嘅人身安全嘅啫。即係香港其實係一個好安全嘅地方，而呢一樣嘢我哋即係有時係真係會 probably take it for granted， 即係好多時候好多地方都唔會有呢個 benefit。所以喺呢一樣嘢其實香港如果喺好多行業上，尤其是我呢個行業 ，if talent is a key battle，actually rule of law 係 set 咗一個好嘅 foundation 嘅環境俾我哋咯。
OK， 明白嘅。 係冇錯，我哋係需要真係需要好多 talent in 呢個 wealth management 呢個 industry 裏邊。either 係可能係 pure financial 啊，或者係 legal 啊，或者係 accounting 啊，或者係各方面嘅 professionals 都係需要嘅。咁好啦，我又想問 Simon 啊，完全唔同嘅公司，完全唔同嘅 business， 一間 technology 嘅公司。咁 Simon 你又點睇咧？即係香港嘅法律制度對你嘅公司對你嘅生意有冇幫助咧？
咁我哋公司由於係做好多科研啊，咁科研啦、產品研發啦，一路到生產啦，到銷售啦、到售後服務，咁我哋一條龍啦。咁其實喺每一個段落上面咧，其實一個完善嘅法律制度好緊要嘅，完善穩定同埋一啲即係大家可能喺香港咧，其實頭先可能ICC 同埋咧我哋 Custom Office 都講咗其實大家都表現咗個 mindset，我哋守呢個守法嘅，公共守法嘅。咁變咗咧好多時咧，我喺做科研嘅時候好放心嘅香港，因為我唔使怕我啲 IP 有啲 pattern 有啲特別嘅一啲新嘅 idea 咧會因此而流失去其他地方嘅。咁我亦都好放心我個開發人員咧，佢哋喺香港你哋可以做任何嘅嘢，咁我係放心嘅。好多公司可能原來咧 USB 都唔俾插落個電腦度嘅，上網咧係即係乜都做唔到嘅。咁我哋公司係好自由咁俾大家做任何嘅嘢。咁同埋咧喺尤其是咧，因為我哋公司喺過去幾年啦，都喺全球裝咗幾百部系統咁裝呢個系統嘅時候咧，其實 involve 咗好多international 嘅 trading law 啲 sales and marketing 好多嘢會喺上面。咁我都會同我哋啲客戶講，即係最尾有 dispute 嘅時候咧，可唔可以 follow 我哋香港 common law？咁佢哋基本上冇一個客戶有咩好大嘅異議嘅，即係just in case 咁so far 都未有任何 dispute 啦。咁我覺得香港大家唔單止我哋即係做一個工商業高科技放心而我嘅客戶都係放心。即係如果我哋根據香港嘅一啲法律制度咧，去做一啲transaction， 佢哋係放心。
明白。好，咁我而家又去翻 G-Man 嗰度啦。G-Man，你係幫人 manage family office 嘅 ，manage 個 wealth 嘅 ，OK？ 咁let's say 即係譬如可能你其中一個家族嘅客戶 ，OK？ 大家 family members 有啲拗撬咁樣樣。咁而家香港我哋亦都除咗亦都喺度有推廣做 arbitration， 同埋而家最新係做 mediation 調解。OK？ 你覺得喺呢一方面，我哋香港去推 mediation、establish 多啲 mediation 嘅法律同埋 centers， 對你家族manage 呢個家族生意有冇幫助咧？
可以，或者我咁樣解釋，其實在座可能有啲朋友仔都對 family office 係一個可能唔係完全明白。其實 family office 我哋可以話我哋嘅工作咧，其實好簡單，講一句就係我哋管錢嘅，就係幫人 manage 錢，點樣去投資，有啲咩 risk and return 風險同回報，其實就好簡單。但係其實好多時候我哋往往有超過一半嘅時間，其實都唔係做緊呢樣嘢。都係 manage 緊呢個 family dynamics， 即係話好多時候往往家族入邊有唔同嘅問題，而我相信頭先即係在座咁多位，尤其是法律界嘅朋友，你都會見到好多唔同嘅家族都可能會有最後 dispute 都會打官司。咁其實喺我哋嘅角度咧，好多時候 to 真係 prevent 呢個問題，好多時候我哋都會係希望呢個家族係 set up 一個叫做 family constitution， 一個家族憲法。咁呢一個咧就好似一個家族入邊點樣管佢哋嘅財富入邊一套佢哋自己嘅一套法律文件，咁佢跟住呢個 rule book 去行。咁呢個係冇一定啱同錯，好多時候係至於佢哋家族嘅一個價值觀啦，又或者佢哋家族背景 去做一啲嘢。譬如咁講，可能有某一啲家族，你見到香港某一啲家族咧，係對某一類型嘅我哋叫慈善係特別有興趣。譬如話喺運動界係有一定興趣，但可能另外一個家族咧，可能佢哋要做嘅呢啲叫慈善嘅關係嘅嘢咧，係同一啲可能係同醫學界有關嘅。咁但係呢樣嘢冇啱同錯，呢個係佢哋嘅背景同 value。咁但係往另外一邊諗就係，往往好多時候家族都離不開多多少少都有啲拗撬。咁好多時候其中一個 terms in 呢個 constitution 咧，其中一個 term 就好多時候我哋都會建議一定要做嘅，就係 embed 喺入邊咧，就係話 in the event that 我哋會即係 there's dispute between family members， 第一個係 mediation， 第二個係 arbitration。咁好多時候呢，當然佢有好多唔同嘅 benefit， 即係我在座咁多位律師界朋友，我相信你哋熟過我。咁但係當然喺呢個時間上啦，喺金錢上啦，同埋喺呢個保密上咧 ，mediation 同 arbitration 有好多佢哋嘅優勢喺度嘅。咁所以當香港 establish 成為呢一個即係個 hub for arbitration 或者 mediation 嘅話咧，其實對我哋好大幫助嘅呢方面。
OK， 多謝你。好啦，我又去 Simon 嗰度啦。IP 頭先你都講過 IP 啦，或者我哋上一個嘅 discussion。有 speaker 都講到 IP 呢樣嘢，你覺得香港喺 IP protection 呢一方面，有啲 specifically 有啲咩嘢特別令你係安心嘅？因為 IP 就係你間公司嘅財產，基本上係你嘅 invention， 你嘅technology 咁你可唔可以再喺呢一方面解釋多啲咧？點解你會 feel comfortable？ 同埋你頭先你講過話點解你要翻嚟香港 set up 你嘅生意咧？
咁由於我哋個公司設計好多一啲 innovative 嘅 products 咧，咁即係我譬如而家有其他國際大公司都同我哋一齊傾緊做 global redistribution 嘅。咁點解會我可以擺喺香港，即係放心擺喺香港咧？其實我覺得法律咧係可能係好死咕咕嘅，好死板嘅，但係反而咧法律令到我哋啲同事咧係我好放心嘅，即係我做所有嘢都係放心嚇。咁唔會怕譬如有個新嘅 idea， 可能做咗之後，即係花咗可能1年咁做完之後，突然間有類似嘅產品或者類似嘅一啲核心技術，我哋啲 core tech 咧會流失咗咯。咁喺歷來我哋喺香港度做產品研發嘅時候咧，都冇呢樣事情發生咗。我諗係一個相輔相成嘅嘢嚟嘅。好嘅法律制度啦，咁就會大家咧即係我啲同事啦，好辛苦好努力咁去做啦。咁佢哋亦都係會 follow the law、follow the rules 去做嘅。即而我係唔需要講一句嘅。呢個就俾咗我好多嘅空間咧，去真係去用心去研發我哋一啲下一代嘅產品啦。咁呢個係一個好首要嘅事情嚟嘅，即係唔使有咩擔心你啲嘢會唔會唔見咗㗎？會唔會要放啊？咁就唔需要咯。呢個我覺得係其中一個優點嚟嘅。
OK，咁係咪因為呢一個其中一個大優點，令到你會希望喺香港創業？因為我聽我哋做呢個 Fireside 出去之前，我都了解過 Simon， 其實佢以前嘅 business 大部分喺國內嘅，咁佢而家都係搬翻嚟香港，係咪因為呢個原因，所以你 feel comfortable 由國內嘅生意搬翻嚟香港？
咁係咯，我哋以前都係香港做trading 嗰橛，咁喺大陸做好多科研嘅。咁我諗隨住即係特區政府咁創科局咁，佢好多 support 俾喺香港去 develop 新嘅一啲機會啦。咁與此同時咧，我哋亦都靠住香港咧嗰個頭先即係我哋個 common law system。咁因為我哋都會將好多嘅新型嘅機種嘅系統咧，我哋就喺全球嗰度安裝。同埋我亦都會有一啲喺譬如我哋印度啦、美國啦，都有啲新嘅廠房陸續咁樣落成啦。咁所以香港咧，我哋就而家變翻我哋嘅高部嘅 headquarter， 就唔係淨係研發 development 咁簡單咯。 即係 global function 佢有晒 HR 啦，有晒 financial services 啊，咁我哋就可以喺香港出發嘅時候咧，會更加有效率嚇。
OK， 好啦，又去翻 Chairman。我哋 before 我哋開呢個 Fireside 出之前，我同 Chairman 都講過少少嘢，就係關於cryptos， 虛擬資產。OK， 咁我諗喺新一代嘅家族裏邊啦，可能好多嘅財富都擺喺虛擬資產嗰度。咁咧頭先Chairman 提過啦，就話香港嘅制度啦，或者係喺呢一方面嘅 infrastructure 咧，其實係比起好多亞洲其他國家都係做得前好多，做得好好多嘅。咁我想喺呢一方面，希望阿 Chairman 可以再解釋多啲。
好啊，多謝。咁頭先我諗最後 Simon 講一個，我諗一個字，我轉頭都會 address 翻，就係一個高效率嘅一個legal system 一個咁我諗第一樣嘢即係都少少 take two step back， 就係話咁究竟 Raffles Family Office 做乜咧？咁如果譬如話有個tycoon 俾一筆錢，或者俾100蚊我哋，咁我哋會做咩咧？咁其實一般我哋成日都話，我哋會將佢分為8大資產類別。咁一半咧係 traditional， 一半咧係我哋叫 alternative。咁 traditional 就股票投資啊、fixed income 債券投資啊、我哋叫啲期權 derivative 啊，同埋一啲外幣 FX。咁呢個我哋叫 traditional。咁另外咧就係 private equity 啦、呢個 digital asset 啦、real estate 同埋呢個hedge funds，sorry。咁其中一樣嘢，我哋即係頭先開文提到咧，咁我都想 focus on。其實我呢8樣嘢入邊咧，其實你睇翻咧，每一個 asset class 佢都有佢嘅遊戲規則，佢嘅監管，我哋叫 regulatory framework， 佢嘅監管嘅制度啦。咁但係呢一樣嘢亦都係based on 一個 rule of law， 嗰個 legal system 係好緊要。咁頭先 Simon 講到咩叫做一個高效率嘅一個 legal system 咧，就係好得意嘅，就係其實我諗 cryptocurrency、digital asset 呢兩個詞語咧，其實係講緊唔超過10年應該係啊，即係話10年前如果你要揾我哋冇一套監管機構或者一個 regulatory framework 去監管呢啲嘢，一定冇嘅，因為呢個 asset class 未發明。咁你唔排除下年或者10年後又會有新嘅 asset class 出嚟。咁你睇翻 Raffles， 我哋 Raffles Family Office， 我哋管8大資產類別，但係零零丁丁有一個咧，我哋叫做 Revo Digital Family Office。咁其實我哋做啲乜嘢咧？其實我哋做嘅嘢同 Raffles 係一模一樣，只不過係依家未來嘅客人嚟到我哋呢度已經唔係 deposit 美金，唔係港紙，唔係 yen， 唔係 euro， 而係喂，我不如俾1萬個 Bitcoin 你幫我管啦。咁你嘅 custodian 點算咧？你嘅 product strategy 點算咧？咁但係關鍵嘅你嘅 custodian 係邊個咧？咁但係我點樣？你 imagine 今時今日你係一個 crypto 嘅一個 founder， 我 founder 唔同嘅公司，我依家有1萬個 Bitcoin。咁但係我會將我啲錢，我啲 Bitcoin 擺喺邊度咧？你會去一個地方，第一係 so call 個 regulatory framework 或者個 rule of law 係好清晰嘅，即係個法律係 recognize 呢一個係一個 asset class。第一，第二點樣監管呢一個 ecosystem 或者呢個 industry。咁好多時候，咁你話喂10年前佢都未出現，咁我哋一定唔識噶嘛。我哋嘅法律，我哋嘅監管機一定會有呢個 asset class 噶嘛。咁所以頭先 Simon 講得一句好好嘅就係咧，一個高效率嘅一個監管制度或者一個法律制度就好緊要啦。即係我哋亦都會隨住時代嘅變遷，亦都係慢慢去演變成監管。咁香港咧，其實即係當然大家都熟悉 SFC 1至9號牌。咁最 common 嘅，好似我哋公司咁，就香港 SFC 149。咁但係149咧，其實依家你會見到我哋可以 by default， 我哋可以管 10% on cryptocurrency， 亦都可以申請一個 fully uplift 可以管100%。但係香港嘅呢度香港呢個城市咧，其實我哋係 one of the first，if not I would say 絕對係頭3名 ，if not 可能係第1名，就係話我哋係 come up with 一個好 robust 嘅一個 regulatory framework for cryptocurrency。That is why Revo Digital Family Office 點解會有 Revo 呢個名咧？其實就係 Raffles essentially going through a evolutions。其實我哋做嘅嘢係一模一樣，只不過依家新一代嘅有錢人將會係 they are depositing cryptocurrency with us，right？ 咁點解我哋揀香港而唔係揀咗其他地方咧？其實就因為香港呢個 rule of law 同埋呢個 regulatory framework 係好清晰，話俾我哋知我乜嘢做得，我乜嘢唔做得，應該我乜嘢我要去申報。咁喺呢方面法律上亦都受到保障，亦都因為呢一樣嘢，我哋亦都係 manage 吸引到好多唔同嘅地方嘅呢啲我哋叫做crypto whale 啦，即係虛擬資產嘅富豪咧嚟到香港，係將個 family office 喺呢度。所以呢一樣嘢頭先我都入嚟之前同Herman分享過。
多謝你，多謝你。係冇錯，因為我哋應該我冇記錯，應該係大概年半前啦就正式launch 咗呢個 crypto assets 嘅一個 regulatory framework。咁跟住我哋之後亦都有 officially 應該有3個我前排睇新聞應該係有第3間嘅crypto exchange 嘅公司fully licensed、fully under 呢個SFC 嘅 licensing regime 嘅，係去做呢個 crypto assets 嘅買賣。咁香港亦都有今年出咗 so far 9隻嘅同 crypto assets 有關嘅 ETF 係 fully backed by 唔同嘅 crypto assets spot price。呢個係跟美國之後，香港係第2個地方出到呢啲咁嘅 ETF 嘅。美國係今年1月出嘅，而香港係4月就已經有啦。咁係全世界第2個地方有。咁所以我相信喺亞洲裏邊應該係香港有啲一類型嘅cryptos ETF。
不過我都想補充一點，其實咧，即係我哋呢一個行業咧，香港入邊咧，其實係非常之受監管。咁受監管對我哋嚟講咧，係一個好好嘅 brand name 同 selling point 嚟嘅。咁好多時候咧，你可以 imagine 一個 crypto whale 可能喺日本、韓國，佢哋過嚟香港 set 一個 family office，咁佢就話：喂，關生，不如我俾1萬個 Bitcoin 嚟幫我管啦。咁但係你要明白，我哋亦都好 rely on 我哋呢個 ecosystem 嘅人。咁第一個我哋一定要揾到嘅就係 exchange。你 imagine 香港即係證監政府 set up 咗呢個好清晰嘅呢個監管機構同埋呢個法律機構去 recognize 去發牌。咁當我哋嘅客人俾咗一萬個 Bitcoin 俾我哋管，咁有時佢都會做買賣噶嘛。咁我哋都要揾翻一個合法或者係 regulated 受監管又或者係持牌嘅一個 exchange 去做咯，而唔係話真係有啲國家喂，究竟我喺呢個 exchange 咁係合法定唔合法？咁令到我哋自己嘅 activity 都係有一個 grey area。所以喺香港呢方面其實十分之清晰嘅喺呢方面，所以令到點解我哋都咁，所以好多時候呢個 regulatory regime 或者 framework 咧，唔係淨係直接 benefit 我，間接咁 benefit 我就因為我嘅 counterparty 亦都係喺香港度 set up 個 headquarter。咁我哋有啲咩事，我哋揾佢，我哋要做任何嘅交易買賣，其實都好清晰。咁大家都係 govern 埋香港 rule of law 都非常之好呢個。
多謝你。好啦，最後一條問題，我問翻Simon，just general， 你係一間technology 公司嘅 founder， 咁你覺得香港嘅法律制度對唔同嘅 technology 公司 in general 啦咁講，有啲咩幫助，有啲咩好處咧？
好似阿 Chairman 咁講啦，香港嘅法律係好清晰嘅，即係我喺其他唔同嘅地方國家都有啲office 啊，有啲工廠啊，有啲研發中心啊。香港係最少煩惱嘅，即係 based on 所有係 on every aspect 好多嘢冇我發覺可能香港安全少少係咪？即係我哋冇咁多一啲法律引起嘅問題。我諗都係嗰句啦，都係大家可能表現咗就阿 Chairman 咁講我哋好透明去監管咗嘅，反而大家係咧，反而好放心咁樣。
OK， 多謝你。好啦，我諗我哋今日Fireside真係差唔多啦。我唔想阻住大家去食 lunch。咁今日就係我頭先咁講，請咗2位好成功嘅企業家喺完全唔同嘅 business， 一個係 finance、wealth management， 一個係 technology。個目的就係希望大家知道就係香港嘅法律制度係非常全面， 亦都係最重點就係高效率、清晰同透明，所以可以令到香港係一個非常之好嘅打造一個非常之好嘅營商環境。咁所以多謝兩位嘅嘉賓，咁big hands，OK。
Thank you. Thank you so much, our moderator, Mr. Day, and also our speaker, Mr. Kwan and Mr. Young. Now, I would like to invite three of our special guests. Please kindly proceed to the stage front for a group photo. 我哋有請3位義步去到台中間嘅位置，一齊影一張合照啊！ Through the Fireside chat, we have a better understanding on how the city's transparent mechanisms for dispute resolution and compromising stance on different capabilities collectively safeguard business interests. Thank you once again to our moderator and speakers. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the morning session of the Rule of Law, the Best Business Environment Conference. Heartfelt thanks to all our excellent speakers and also moderators, and to our participants here and those watching online. Thank you for attending the morning session. Before you leave the venue, please be reminded to return your SI headset and take all your personal belongings with you. Please also take a moment to complete the evaluation form by scanning the QR code, which is now on the screen. For CPD points of the Law Society of Hong Kong and also the ALE points of the Hong Kong Bar Association, in-person participants, please be reminded to check out at the registration counter for record purpose. The afternoon session will resume at 2:30, so please be seated 5 minutes before the afternoon program commences. For CPD points of the Law Society of Hong Kong and also the ALE points of the Hong Kong Bar Association, in-person participants, please be reminded to check in again at the registration before 2:15 p.m. Have a nice lunch and see you all at 2:30. Thank you.